It's time for Twig This Week in Google Hyperlocal News. A bunch of new products from Amazon, and Google gets into gaming. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 527, recorded Wednesday, September 25th, 2019. Quantum Supremacy Achieved. This Week in Google is brought to you by Tailor Store. Tailor Store makes high-quality dress shirts that are fully customizable by you. With their exclusive trial price, each new customer gets their dress shirt starting at $39. From the basic essentials to the most high-end details, Tailor Store has you covered. Go to tailorstore.com/twig, offer code TWIG. And by PayPal Credit. If you're purchasing new tech devices or booking upcoming travel, use PayPal Credit and enjoy 6 months special financing on purchases of $99 or more. Learn more and apply now at paypal.com/twit. Subject to credit approval, minimum monthly payments required. And by Monday.com. Monday helps teams manage work and meet deadlines while building a culture of transparency. Manage all your core business activities in one place. Learn more at monday.com/twig. It's time for Twig, This Week in Google. And we're going to Google today, but not with Stacy, because she's at the Amazon event trying the twerking bears and stuff. But we'll get her report next week. Aunt Pruitt is here from Twit. I love saying that. And soon to be new shows about to be announced any minute now.
Any minute now.
Any minute now. We're getting real
You
close.
could announce them on this show and give us a
quiet.
scoop.
Shush,
No,
shush,
we will not.
shush.
We will
Top
Shush.
secret. We don't want anybody to steal Ant or the idea. That's Jeff Jarvis. He's back home in Jersey. Hello, Jeff. Jeff,
Hello.
as we all know, is the Leonard Tao Professor of Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York, blogger at buzzmachine.com. He's at Jeff Jarvis. And in Stacy's place, she sent a surrogate, Kevin Tofel.
Hey!
Where's Norm?
Norm, he's on my Google Photos right now, or my Google Nest Hub.
Yeah.
He's downstairs.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that in a second. About Chromebooks.com, great fella, and also Stacy's co-host on the IoT show. We talked last week, your ears might have been burning, about your Norm folder on that's public on Google Photos.
Yes. He has so many people that love looking at his photos on Instagram that I started a Google Photos album for Norm. It's public, and people seem to like it. They're subscribing. They're putting it on their own Google Nest Hubs, I guess. I don't know. Whatever.
It's really cool. It's kind of like Mike Elkins.
Are you going to get Norm an Amazon dog collar?
No, he actually doesn't wear a collar at all. He did when he was younger, but he doesn't care for those. So
I feel for Stacy's dog. Stacy's dog is sure to be the first dog with an Amazon IoT dog collar.
Yeah, GPS tracker and
that dog is joining
button.
the IoT world.
Yeah,
it's lost all its privacy.
So, Kevin, when people say, "Oh, you're doing Norm," how do I get Norm? How do I do Norm?
Oh, there's a link. You've got it there. Maybe we can put it in the show notes or something. But you can.
It's a long ass link. You want me to give that out?
I didn't make it.
How do we?
Google who makes
there's got to be maybe I don't know. I don't know. There seems like
there's a share link there. Maybe that can be short.
Too bad we don't have Google Plus.
I know. Wouldn't it be easier?
Wouldn't that be nice? Create link. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, it's kind of a long link. Photos.app.goo.gol.
I will ask Norm to shorten his link.
Shorten your link, Norm. Shorten your link. Actually, can people add photos to this, or is it a Norm only?
I believe I set it up that they can only view and leave comments. Yeah. I don't think they can add.
This is new to me, this activity bar. I think this is something Photos added recently, where you can see people's comments. This really does become, in a way, your very own Google Plus, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I respond to people, and we have a good time bantering about Norm and his silly photos.
I really like
this. You can see in the top row of photos there, we are working on a mattress sponsorship.
Is this a Casper Norm?
Oh, he's not picky. He'll sleep on anything. But if he's going to get paid, that's fine.
Norm is a
Go
ham.
Casper, sure.
Such a ham.
He is. He's sleeping most of the time. So, there's his buddy Gus, and I had to babysit Gus. People thought it was another Norm.
Gus and Norm.
Yep.
That's so cute. So I don't know if you got the idea from, but we've mentioned Mike Elgin's Nice Book, and this was Mike's response to the loss of Google Plus and the kind of the pit of despair that has become Facebook. So he does exactly the same thing where he shares pictures from his life. So it's his kind of Facebook feed. I guess we should probably do a Twit thing, huh? We have lots of pictures. We got a bunch of photographers now.
Well, between that and Instagram, we'll have it covered.
See, I don't want to support Instagram. I really don't. I have I created an Instagram.
Really?
Sigh. Hey.
I hate Instagram. Because every ninth picture I buy something, which I really don't like.
Well, see, that's not Instagram's fault.
No, it's mine. In fact, in a way, they've done too good a job. But I do have to say that I have an Instagram account, but it's private. Nobody can follow me. I only follow one person, my wife, because she posts pictures on Instagram that apparently I should see.
Yeah. Yeah, she does.
So it's the only way to do it. So, but I do notice if you only follow one person on Instagram, you don't get ads.
What?
Like, I don't know why, but maybe there's not enough pictures or something.
Too late for
They
me,
figure
then.
you are a antisocial, paranoid, schizophrenic, insane loner, and you're not worth advertising to.
Okay. Absolutely
that's what
right.
it sounds like.
That's why.
So
why don't you guys just do a shared Google photo album? There's no ads ever there. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. That's the whole
Yeah.
idea, right? Is do this instead of Instagram. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
right.
Why not?
And we maybe make a Twit one, and if we do, we'll let you know, and that could go with our other. We're
I'm
trying
for it.
another thing, and I'll talk more about that in the weeks to come, which is a forum site that we're going to start working on and set up.
That's going to be fun.
People can participate. Well, you know what happened? I got a great email from a guy who said, the problem with the chat, which of course is our primary community interface because it's live, so it's interactive while we're live, you have to watch live.
Right.
And if you don't watch live, the chat is meaningless because it's scrolled off. There's no history.
Quickly.
So, it kind of tends to a small group of people who are there every day, but it is in a way that everybody can participate. So I think he made a very good point. I think we need a way that everybody can participate in our shows. So we've had forums before, but they're a lot of work, and
they're a lot of work.
I got lazy.
Again, the chat room, no disrespect, it is really, really niched down. You go out in the wild and say IRC to people, they're like, what?
Yeah.
You know.
But I think anybody who watches our show should be able to get to it.
Right.
I wonder.
We're setting a bar.
Right.
I wonder if you guys could use that new feature that lets you just get snippets of YouTube videos.
Yes.
Certain sections,
I think
and
that's so
make each one of
interesting.
those like in the forum, and that way
Right.
people can respond to that.
Great idea. See, this is why I think a forum is an opportunity to do some really interesting stuff. Great idea.
Yeah, I like forums. We set them up. That was one of the first things I did when I set up the local news sites I worked on, was to have forums.
It seems so 90s. As
Oh,
Kevin,
it
I think
is.
Kevin
Oh, it
said
is.
that.
Hey, but it's the good old days, the 90s.
But there's something to be said for it. And us, actually, I think they may come back again as people tire of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, these big TikTok, these global phenomenon. Maybe they want something that is more about the community they're a part of. You know, why shouldn't a city have its own forum, or
Why not?
a podcast network or software company?
In hyperlocal, someone like in I think what is it? South Orange Maplewood. I think Maplewood. The hyperlocal site is still a forum.
Yeah, see, I think that's interesting. Patch still is around. Petaluma.
Well, kind of.
Well, but we have a Petaluma patch, and it's active, and people write articles for it and post to it. Who was Patch? What happened to them?
Patch was the former president of AOL.
What?
Help me.
It's not Steve Case.
It's Patch.
No, former head of revenue at Google, who then went to this is embarrassing. Former head of AOL. He sold the company to Verizon.
It's owned by Hale Global now.
Well, so he.
Warren St. John?
Chat room, help me.
Warren
Chat room,
St.
help me.
John.
I have no memory.
Warren St. John.
No.
the
That's who's
current
in charge
guy.
of Patch. This is a bigger guy. You know who I'm talking about. He sold AOL to Verizon.
Warren Webster.
No.
I'm
Chat room,
going to keep throwing Warrens at you.
Oh, this is killing me.
Tim Armstrong.
Thank you. My good friend Tim Armstrong.
Yeah.
That's the name.
So Tim Armstrong, before he when it was taking over AOL, he started before he did AOL, he started Patch just as a passion. He'd left Google, head of revenue there.
Wikipedia says because there wasn't enough information about his hometown of Riverside, Connecticut.
Exactly. So he did it. He tried to bring me in to advise, but I was not appreciative of their plan to not cooperate with local bloggers that existed, instead to kill them. So I said that wasn't very nice.
Yeah.
And I feared that they had a whole formula for what towns to go into, and I feared it was going to redline, local journalism around rich towns that had downtowns.
Well, what's interesting is our local paper, the Petaluma Argus-Courier, is in some way affiliated with Patch. So they've made nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. So when he went, they started the model. They thought they knew everything. They didn't really get the model down. They, like advertisers were being charged a very high rate for very low return.
Right.
It wasn't working as well as they thought, but then they went ahead and multiplied it times 900. So they were in 900 towns across the country. And now it was too hard to fix the problems they had.
Oh.
They didn't get the model down, and so it really didn't work all that well. So then AOL, he when he took over AOL, he incorporated it into AOL, but it was controversial there. It didn't work very well. Feeling was a conflict. And so then he sold it off. And that's how it ended up with the current owner. And the current owner, yeah, it still exists, and I still find out things from it, but it's a much cheaper operation, shall we say.
Look at ours. This is Petaluma's Patch.
I've never heard of this, and I'm fascinated.
70,000 visits in the last 30 days. That's probably more than the Argus-Courier's circulation. There are lots of stories here by people who don't honestly probably get paid, but people are doing it. There's calendars of events. I don't know who's putting the energy into this, but it's really great.
They have some staff. They have limited staff that do rewrites and stuff like that. If you want to find a local model that's really working, there's a company called Village Media, headquartered in Sault Ste. Marie, in Canada. And they've really succeeded in going into towns like that, 70,000 people thereabouts, and have local news. A guy named Jeff LG runs it. Google loves them. And so that's going to be the basis software for Google-funded Knight Ridder to start 3 local experiments.
I like this idea. I feel like this is like reading. It's like reading Grit, a little bit, or and in fact, if you go to patch.com, which is the global site, and you can enter in your zip code or your town, but you can also read today's top local news. From Swampscott, Massachusetts comes this one: Amazon driver fired after trashing dozens of undelivered packages. From Des Moines, Iowa, Iowans' beer fundraiser for 6 kids goes flat over old tweets. From Miami, Florida, hey, Echo, I need a job in a Big Mac. From Tribeca, Phi Dai, New York, see the big city getting involved. Met's stolen coffin is going back to Egypt. I just feel like across America,
local news is good.
This is great. This is much more interesting than what we're reading about in our national papers. Let's just
well, and here's mine in Bridgewater, New Jersey. Dog, cat stuck on roof, rescued by Boundbrook police.
That's what you want to read.
See the video. And you know what? It looks like Norm.
What?
But what's he doing with the cat on the roof? Are they stepping out? What's going on?
I don't know.
There's a story here.
I'm going to put it in the chat right now.
I have one problem with Patch, as I just checked on the zip code back in my hometown.
Oh, there's no Greenville
that's
sports.
The problem.
And then I clicked on sports.
There's no
and
Greenville.
it's a blank page, really.
Home
in
of the
South
Clemson
Carolina.
Tigers?
Really?
There's no Clemson Tigers
Number 1
news?
team in all the land. Okay, Patch.
All right,
let's
Patch.
talk.
Yeah.
Boy,
Hey, well, I got this
thing
beat, though.
that
They need a
nothing
correspondent.
happened at Facebook or Amazon today, and so we can just talk about local.
Oh, shut up.
news.
All right. All right. The producer weighs in.
Sorry.
It turns out Amazon announced like 8,000 events, 8,000 products, including, I'm not kidding you, a twerking bear. Did you see this?
I missed the
Unfortunately,
twerking
I
bear.
did.
Technically, the twerking bear was not announced, but it was there.
Jemmy the twerking bear. It's $10.30. It says on the back of Jemmy the twerking bear, "That's my jam." Here's a video. of
Once
Jimmy.
you've received your twerking Santa, twerking Christmas bear, or twerking everyday bear, it's time to choose your power source. You can power
Oh, jeez.
That's why I can't twerk. I haven't chosen a power source.
So you're going to stick the USB up its rear end? That's why it's
Apparently.
twerking?
I want to see the twerk. I mean, here it comes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Alexa, wake me up.
Oh,
for my
so I get
afternoon
it. So
nap
you
at
can
3
set it to
p.m.
twerk when you're
Alarm set for 3 p.m.
Oh, it's like the
Oh,
Big Mouth Billy Bass. It's Amazon Echo's voice. And when the alarm goes off, the
Alexa,
butt moves.
Remind me tomorrow at noon to call mom.
I can't
Okay,
help but
I'll
laugh
remind
at
you
this.
tomorrow at noon.
The lip sync's pretty good. It's better than it was for Dev Null.
Yeah.
They
will
also
get-
announced that you'll be able to get voices for your Amazon Echo, including Samuel L. Jackson.
Please.
Ooh, clean version or?
No, they said it may be explicit.
All MFs.
Whoa.
Wow.
Effing bear.
Can't wait.
All MFs.
99 cents. They didn't say whether it was one time only, and that's temporary fee. But did they, Kevin, were you able to, because this is really up your alley. I know Stacy's at the event. Were you able to somehow find out what was going on there?
Honestly, I was in class all afternoon and got back here just in time. However, for
You
the
were
show,
buried in Python.
No, I've moved on. We'll talk about that later if there's time.
Okay.
But no, Stacy actually had me right before the show edit her post that covers everything. So that's how I'm figuring out what's what.
So, like the rumor was 25 new Echo products.
There's a lot.
15.
A high-end, there were only 15. Oh, a high-end Echo Studio.
Lazy Amazon.
The new Echo Show 8, which I presume is not the 8th edition, but 8 inches.
8 inches, yes.
8 inches.
Echo
yes.
Dot with a clock. The 3-in-1 Amazon Smart Oven. Echo.
I'll make sure we cover that. I wish Stacy were here for that one.
Yeah, Echo Buds earphones, Echo Frames eyewear with Amazon's Echo built in.
By invitation only.
Yeah,
They're
it's
big in
a
clunky.
day one thing for experimental products. Too bad the twerking bear is not experimental. A ring, not a Ring doorbell, which Amazon does own, but an actual jewelry ring for your finger.
Oh, what does that do?
I guess it has Echo in your ring.
Hopefully it does. And hopefully it works well because it's $129, another invite only deal.
Yeah. This is really, really kind of amazing. If I go to Stacy on IoT, is her post up? Did you finish editing?
It is indeed. Yep.
All right. Well, let's go.
Nice.
I'd rather see that than somebody else's coverage. Everything we care about from the Echo event. She's allowed to write the A word, but I can't say the A word.
No, can't say it. Can't say it.
A word. Why did you do that? Looks like a nice event in Seattle. I'm sure Stacy was happy to be there. Oh, hi, Stacy. Amazon's David Limp kicked. Who's David Limp? Do we
That's
know?
not a name I'm familiar with. I don't
No.
know.
Kicked off the event focusing on privacy. They spent 10 minutes talking about how they have handled privacy in the past. They do have a physical circuit that turns the microphone on and off. I use that all the time. The privacy zones on the Ring doorbell. Okay, that's something the Hello does not have. And Echo Shows will now have a physical camera shutter, which I think is a really good idea. They also, in response to criticism, I might add, said they're going to make it easier for people to delete recordings. You could say, Echo, delete everything I said today or everything I just said. There will be a new home mode for camera-based devices and security devices. That means they won't record until you leave the house. That's something Nest has had for some time.
All right.
But the
How
problem
do
is
they know you left the house?
your phone.
The Amazon app on your phone.
You can designate a device, whatever you want, but
But then the Amazon always knows where you are, but that's another thing.
yeah, and actually, I want the cameras on it late at night when I'm home. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to have it, but that makes sense. It's a privacy mode. And truthfully, the one reason we don't have cameras in the house is because Lisa said, no, that's not going to happen.
All right.
And she's right, because she walks around naked all the time. So, which doesn't bother me.
I wonder why.
No, I'm just joking. But it is the case. I think people may be sensitive to cameras in the house. We did get that new And I take it you have it because you were just mentioning it, Kevin, that new Nest Hub Max. I really like that device.
So I did not get one yet. I think Stacy has one on order. So we're kind of living vicariously through other people.
I love
She's really interested in the personalization as you walk past.
It's weird.
It
you walk up to it. You have to turn this on. It's off by default. You turn it on and it makes a little boop and it says, "Hi, Leo," because it knows me. It shows my calendar, shows stuff I'd be interested in. It does a whole slideshow of things for me. It's still just like the little baby, the best picture frame ever, because if you use Google Photos, it's totally awesome for that.
I like that idea, but where are they storing this data that shows your biometrics? Where is that being kept?
Oh, I don't know. Because with Apple, it's on device only, right? So I don't know what Amazon is.
I mean, it's not that different than the voice match feature, right? I mean, It recognizes your voices, so you can say what's on my calendar, and it will show your calendar.
That's a good thing. We want that, right?
Yeah.
Well, some people do, some people don't. I do.
I like that convenience, but again, I have to ask because that's the world we live in today as far as privacy concerns and who has
It's a very good point. It's also the case that we have seen more and more devices asking for face recognition. For instance, my Hello doorbell, and again, you have to turn it on. This is the Google Nest doorbell, does face recognition for everybody who comes to the door. Now, that's really great because it will notify Michael just got home,
right?
Because it knows what he looks like, or somebody I don't know just left a package on your porch. I think that's useful, but they also point out, comply with local laws, because
there's still caveats with that.
Yeah, we're recording people's faces and clearly sending it to the cloud.
Well, keep in mind that I/O that Google said it's going to take its machine learning models and push them down to the devices at the edge itself. So at some point, if not already, that data is not going to go anywhere.
We're going to need to demand that, aren't we? We're going to need to say we want that, and if it can do it, clearly it has to be able to do it. The Echo Glow, which is going to really annoy Casper, the mattress manufacturer, because they have also a glowing lamp called the Glow. Difference about the Echo Glow is it has Amazon Echo built in. And it's for kids, which is kind of a surprise given Amazon's lawsuit about listening to children and targeting them with ads. SDK for the Echo Glow will tie into programs used by schools to manage homework. Are you going to bed, Billy? Don't you think you should finish your history homework? Parents will be able to whitelist users who can call their kids on Echo devices. Well, I should hope so. Holy cow. And this, apparently there's an Amazon free time service, which will be available on the new Echo Show, and then if you tie in the kids' school, you'll actually be able to say, "Hey, Echo, how did Ant do on his math test yesterday?" What?
It's going to require the schools want to do that. I don't know how many are going to jump on that bandwagon right away, but
well,
they got enough on their
parents
hands.
want it.
Yeah, my kids' schools are all tied into Power School. They I know pretty much every paper my children, every grade on every test they take.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
It's kind of weird.
Now, when they get to an age, I think Zach and Alex are a little young, but when they get to 13 or at some point, then the weird thing happens. This happened with my kids. Then they say, "No, you can't know what they did, how they did."
Right? It is 13.
Yes,
that's so weird.
It is 13.
Yeah, it is.
You can't know how they did. Where their grades are not that you have to get their permission. You have to get them. So that's happening with your kids.
That happened in North Carolina.
Because I know my 15-year-olds and my 13-year-olds.
You can still know their grades?
I don't. Yeah.
That happened to me in North Carolina before we came here. When our now 16-year-old
turned 13,
and I remember having to go and have him sign off on stuff.
Isn't that weird?
And I'm like, dude, it
pissed me off. I'm paying for college, and I want to know how
Yep.
my kids are doing. Are they taking those classes I'm paying for?
And then with my oldest boy, the 21-year-old, this is before he went into the U.S. Army. He went to college, and I had no access to any of his information. But I was fine with that because I was like, I'm not paying for it.
He's a grown-up. Yeah, well, I was, and still I didn't know. Here's the Echo Dot clock. By the way, now that Amazon owns Ring and Eero, there are apparently some new Ring and Eero stuff as well. But that's the clock. I think that's a good idea. That's a nice little digital clock on the side, on the fabric side of the Echo. There's an Echo Flex, which plugs into the wall. Stacy says it's a device the size of an air freshener, has a USB socket on the bottom. $25. You could put the Echo in every room.
This is, that's the thing. If whoever's voice dominates your house, right? And you've got to have a device in every single room. It's like the old intercom.
Yeah.
And will Amazon do it, or will I'm old enough to remember when houses had intercoms.
Me too.
I had to. So our 16-year-old goes into my office to turn off the light. I said, no. Don't touch that switch. Say, Echo, turn off lights. And he was like nonplussed. The whole thing was, what are you talking about?
He's like, there's a light switch.
I couldn't figure out. I finally caught him. Somebody's been going and turned off all the lights in my office. And I couldn't figure out. Because then nothing works. Like, because I have a motion sensor in there.
So that's interesting. You get to the point where there'll be no light switches.
Well, that's the thing. We're in this intermediate state where they're both light switches and voice.
Right.
Yeah, right. I hadn't thought of that.
No, don't touch it. I should put a big sign. I can't bring myself to do that. So that's the Echo Flex. I think that's really interesting.
Kudos to Amazon for continuing to make the barrier of entry so easy with that $25 price point. Yeah. And this is just going on for the last couple of years.
Now, Kevin, I don't know if you're editing did the job or if this is, I'm not sure I understand this sentence. It also opens up an accessory market for the Echo and with limp, showing off a motion detector and a nightlight available for $15 each. Is with limp a company?
So I was actually in a rush. Limp is the guy.
Oh, and with limp. Oh, that's the guy.
Yeah.
So
legend.
With limp showing off, yeah, it needs a comma before the whip.
what is the $14.99 product then? Is it the Echo Limp?
Motion sensor.
Oh, no,
and
that's the
nightlight.
guy's name.
I know, I'm kidding.
All right, forget
A
it.
motion detection sensor and nightlight. Okay. But no Echo built into that, I guess.
Right. It just probably ties in so that way you could say if somebody walks into the room, the motion's detected, maybe turn the lights on.
And I do have a motion detector for my Hue lights that do that, which is really great. The Echo Studio. So this is, she says, the answer to Sonos and the Google Max speaker. I love the Google Max. That thing is so great. It has Google Assistant, but it's a big enough speaker that the sound is very good.
I remember it being pretty robust when you went to pick
heavy.
it up.
It's heavy. Well, any good speaker is going to be a little heavy because of the transformer. She says the studio is the size of an ice bucket. Good old Stacy. It's roughly the size of a cocktail shaker and 2 martini glasses. but it has 3 mid-range speakers positioned on the top 2 sides, one pointing up to the top of the room, a tweeter, and a bass at the bottom. This sounds a lot like that new portable Sonos Move. It provides a surround sound experience in a really tiny package and is optimized to handle content formatted for Dolby Atmos. So that's why the up-firing speaker. It sounds terrific. Costs $200, $100 less than the Sonos Move. It will also take Amazon Fire TV audio and sound and act like a sound bar. Except she says, or maybe you said this, it feels like a Kevin Tofel line, except it's a sound ice bucket.
No, it wasn't me. That was all her.
So Eero is being updated. There's an Eero Wi-Fi beacon product. It's still the same mesh tech. In fact, this is interesting. TP-Link, Asus, and Aris are also going to use Eero's True Mesh technology. Now we have a de facto standard, even though she points out the Wi-Fi Alliance has its own mesh network standard. Eero seems to be kind of dominating here.
Yeah, I wish she was here because she and I kind of agree on this. The Easy Mesh standard came out maybe a year ago, and that was going to allow interoperability between, say, you bought an Eero router and you wanted to add some Google Wi-Fi beacons or access points. You could do that if Easy Mesh was implemented, but that's not what's going on. Obviously, nobody's using it, and if people are glomming on to Eero's proprietary mesh, then Easy Mesh isn't going to be around, I don't think.
I agree with you. There should be an open standard, but Wi-Fi Alliance is not notoriously open, I might add, which is why they keep having trouble with their encryption specs, WEP and now WPA2 because they don't publish those, and so crypto experts can't vet them before they implement them. So it may be good reason why nobody's adopting the Wi-Fi Alliance as a mesh standard. There's a new Ring indoor camera. Ring, of course, made its name, longtime sponsor on our network for their doorbells. They're going to build a $60 indoor camera, which still is not as cheap as the Wise, but maybe if it ties into Echo or maybe, who knows. And there will be a Ring Alarm retrofit kit, which
that's interesting.
Will connect to an existing security system hub already in their home. Ring has this alarm system. I don't understand, Kevin. What is?
So if you have, say, an older wired security system in your house, and you want to expand it to have wireless connectivity, add new cameras and so on, instead of running wires, you would get this retrofit kit to tie it together.
Nice. So you could take if you spend all the money wiring your home with an alarm system, you can reuse it.
Is there a standards issue there? How does it tie into the old system?
The old systems are actually pretty basic, to be honest, Jeff. There's not the reason people keep them around is because they have a direct phone line tied to maybe emergency services or a monitoring system, and most of the newer things don't. So if you want to keep that service because maybe it gives you peace of mind, you would then do this retrofit so you could add the newer modern sensors and things and still have your tie.
Oh, I was thinking about the other way. You were tying your old system into the new. In a way, this is tying your new system into the old.
Right.
In a sense, yeah.
And again, this is more of that barrier to entry. You got a system in place already? We got you.
They've got the Ring stick-up cam is being updated, $99.99, $100, and it works indoors, outdoors, or with a solar-powered battery. So, I mean, that's, Ring, as soon as Amazon bought them, stopped advertising on our network. But I was all in on the Ring. I really like their Ring stuff. Here's the Smart Oven. This is going to compete with...
what Stacy says, watch out, June.
June, $250. That's less even than the newest June.
So it's a convection oven. It's a microwave, I think.
It's not a micro. It is a micro. No. They have a microwave.
No,
this is a regular
convection
toaster
oven and a air fryer.
Right.
Any
convection oven is an air fryer, by the way.
Got it.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah, this is similar to the June that Stacy and I both have, and we bought the first version of that, so we paid out the yin yang for the $1,500, and now it's down to $600. And I'd be curious to see if she gets a review unit of this because I'm very curious.
How many toaster ovens does a girl need?
How many road machines?
Yeah.
What does the June do that this doesn't do?
June is Android based, so it doesn't have Echo built into it. But you get downloaded recipes all the time. You get updates all the time.
It has a camera in it, Jeff. So when you put food in, it detects what it is and then just basically presets all the temperature and time.
Don't you want a camera in your toaster oven, Ant? Come on.
It's fantastic.
Somebody explain to me why these are good ideas, these smart ovens. I've never...
Come on over, I'll show you.
Even with the smart, what was it? The smart microwave that had the ability to pop popcorn for you.
That was dopey. But the June, I can from here see who's making toast in my house.
Right. Well, then,
right?
You can
toast.
Did that do it for you?
So I'll preheat mine before I get home, so that way when I get home it's already ready.
Okay.
And to be honest, because it's all algorithm-based recipes, the food is always consistent.
Yes.
I mean, and it makes very good food.
So you
it's
can
going to
say,
taste the same every time.
June, do your Brussels sprouts thing, and it knows what to do. It turns on the convection when it needs to, it broils when it needs to.
Yep.
It makes it very simple.
Okay.
So do you make,
it's ridiculously priced.
Routines for it?
No, I don't think you can you?
No, you really can't.
That's weird. You think it would be an open source community of oven routines.
So what if you have one of those like subscription services for food and you go to put that in there? What happens? It scans that and assumes it's supposed to be cooked a certain temperature and so forth. You
can do it manually. You can always do it manually. It's a regular toaster oven. Okay. So you can do everything you would do with a regular toaster oven.
Okay.
But the idea is if you put a chicken breast in there, the camera would say, "Chicken breast, would you like me to cook it?"
Okay.
And it has a probe, which is nice, so you can have the internal temperature. So it was way overpriced. What is the new price though? It's not $1,500.
$599.
See, $599, not so but now this is $250. The Amazon.
That's sounding better at $250.
$250 is what a normal Breville toaster oven would cost. Right. So if it's a decent toaster oven, that's actually a fair price. Amazon's going to go into the earbud business. Wireless noise canceling headphones with Amazon's Echo built in, the Echo Buds. I love it, though. It'll work with Google or Siri if you've got an Android or iPhone.
That's surprising, actually.
Yeah, 5 hours battery life in your ears, 20 hours in the case. It's one of those same things. The price is aggressive. Amazon's being very aggressive in pricing here. $130 is about $30 less than the AirPods.
Mm-hmm. They knew exactly what they were doing. Everything you've touched on in here was just a little bit less expensive than a competitor.
Now, you don't wear glasses, Ant.
I do wear glasses, just not often.
Would you wear glasses you could talk to?
Vain? Are you vain?
I'm wearing contacts. We're both wearing contacts.
I wear glasses just every now and then. Most of the time I can see okay, but...
Oh, like readers?
No, they're regular prescription glasses.
Okay.
I can't imagine going through life with even the slightest fuzz.
My eyes they're actually not that bad. My eyes actually got a little bit better because I stopped wearing my glasses as often, according to my doctor.
Oh,
that's true.
And if you put your glasses on right now, though, would things look sharper to you than they do now?
Just slightly.
Okay.
I'm with you, Jeff. Although, in order to wear contacts, you have to sacrifice acuity a little bit because your spectacles are more accurate than the contacts.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. I never knew that.
Oh, yeah.
Curvature.
Yeah.
I'm just
when I put on my glasses, everything gets just a little clearer. And I'm kind of with you. It feels good when it's really clear. Mm-hmm. But my eye doctor said the same thing. You don't want your glasses to correct too perfectly because your eyes get lazy. Look at this guy.
Me.
Is he lazy? Jeff, I believe, lazy. Look at him.
Yes, absolutely.
Lazy.
So the glasses are also pretty clunky.
Well,
and it appears that it's a speaker. It's not bone induction.
Oh, that would be so.
Oh no!
So everybody can hear Echo talking.
I think so. Take a look at the. Go to the Amazon page
Echo
and look at them there.
$179.99. Google Assistant will also work. Let me hold on, Carson. Let me go to the Amazon page and see if I can find them. So this is a beta, so you can go there, but you have to sign up and ask to be. Can I buy them now? No, I'm looking for Echo Frames. All I'm finding
you keep missing it.
What?
It's right there. Go up. There.
Oh. Put your glasses on.
I wanted this digital. Oh yeah, that's the problem. I'm wearing contacts. Introducing. I like making Karsten angry. Introducing Echo Frames. Never miss a moment. So you have to request an invitation. Should I request an invitation? You can get your lenses, your glasses prescription in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
That means these are going to cost about $900 for me.
What type of smartphone do you use daily? Both. How long do you wear prescription glasses every day? More than 10 hours. What size measurements of your existing glasses? Oh, I don't freaking know.
Come on, Amazon. You got to do better.
What's my lens width, bridge width, and temple length?
I think I've got that.
Yeah. Hey, custom made.
No, that's
all right.
But
I'll sign up later.
The Warby Parker and
most of the glasses have these measurements printed on the inside of the temple.
I know they will, but I don't have my glasses on. Actually, if somebody would bring me my purse,
I can't read those little numbers without the glasses.
Without my glasses, I can't read my glasses.
Mine are 45, 22, 142.
You're my perfect woman.
So he's the guy that has the best eyes.
45, 22, 152. Day one editions is what they call these, are designed to bring you our most innovative ideas faster. By choosing to participate, you'll have the opportunity to contribute feedback. In other words,
scroll down and see how big these things are.
You're the beta tester.
Well, hipsters like the big black frames, right?
Keep scrolling.
I'm not a hipster, and I think
there's the speaker. Amazon open ear technology. Direct sounds to your ears. Oh, you mean like a speaker?
Opposed to your nose.
Letting you discreetly access Echo. With your ears uncovered, you'll be able to hear without blocking out the world around you.
So people are going to hear.
Yeah.
This annoying little voice.
No.
But can you imagine sitting there? You're having a lemonade. You say, this lemonade is good, and you say, Echo, add lemonade to my shopping list. That's going to be the new annoying. Isn't it?
So keep scrolling. Keep scrolling.
Those frames look pretty good, though.
She looks okay.
No, wait. Keep going.
Hope you and my. So now there's
going.
There's not a camera in them. Oh, that's.
No, there's no camera. Keep going to the picture of the glasses. There.
Yeah, they're thick. Oh, you see how thick the temple piece is? That's for the battery.
Also heavy. Mine are incredibly light, these glasses.
Yeah, mine too.
Featherweight. Those are heavy glasses.
That is a bit of a fail, but what else could they do? They need to power them some kind of way, and they need the tech somewhere.
And I say this as somebody who wasted a fortune on Google Glass, so I can't make fun. But
you and me both. Don't worry, Jeff. You and me both.
And me, we spent as much as our June ovens on Google Glass.
Was it $2,000 for the?
There's $4,500 in blowing money right there.
I got the prescription version.
Oh, even great.
Same here.
Oh man.
No,
you did too, Kevin. Here. Oh,
yes, I did.
Ouch.
I can't.
Ouch.
Yep.
I can't see any numbers on these.
You know, with all this Echo stuff coming out, I used to think, when I think back to the movie Her, I used to think it would be Google that would be everywhere.
I know.
And now it seems like it's going to be Amazon.
I just hope it's Scarlett Johansson. Echo frame. It's so nice to be sexist without.
I was going to say there's more testosterone on this show than ever. All we're missing is a new Gen X sponsorship and Frank Thomas. Jeez.
I know, I'm sorry.
The number on your glasses have worn off.
It's worn off, I think.
I just see letters.
Yeah, well, I can go to my optometrist and say, I'm going to get these.
So your eyes were not deceiving you this time.
Yeah, they're gone. They're gone. A capacitive touch sensor, ambient light sensor, accelerometer. They're sweat and water splash resistant, IPX4. 2 beamforming microphones. I don't really want to talk to Echo. That's really what you get from this. You don't want to be without Echo anywhere, ever.
You're not getting a HUD, right? Just
no
glasses
HUD.
And something in your ears.
Echo Loop, titanium encased ring that also has a mic and tiny speaker. $129, haptic feedback, so you know when Amazon's Echo is listening. Invite only. Services, Sidewalk, a new wireless protocol using the 900
so
megahertz
in other words,
band.
Speak to the hand.
Yes, talk to my ring.
Show title.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heart, darling, would you marry me and wear this microphone-enabled ring for the rest of your life?
It's going to track you wherever you go, so I know you're not going to do anything it has to without me.
Wow. Sidewalk is low bandwidth services over long distances. So it's really for the Ring doorbells, which are often too far from Wi-Fi to be usable.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
They created their new. It's not. There are standards, as Stacy points out. There's LoRaWAN and Sigfox, but they've decided to create another low power WAN protocol. Amazon spent some time focused on celebrity voices for the Echo, including a newly launched ability to have, I love this, Samuel L. Jackson on your device in an explicit or clean version. This provoked titters in the audience. Again, another Stacyism. But Limp also said having Jackson yelling the weather at you would cost 99 cents. Amazon has several subscription offerings with Prime Music, Eeros Security Services, now with Echo. Services are the new black, aren't they? That's what Apple wants. Everybody wants. New partnership with the Food Network. But Amazon, I have to say, Amazon is pretty both impressive and aggressive.
It's all about all the hooks.
And what's funny is I got the strong sense that they didn't expect Echo to be that important when they first released it. And it just took off. But Amazon's done this time and time again. AWS was just an afterthought.
I think that there was a
hope, maybe.
As much data as they deal with, they just were looking for another way to harvest, and this was it.
But does it feel like some of these products are just thrown up against the wall to see what sticks? I mean, there's
Amazon's always done that.
Yeah,
right?
that's their MO.
I guess.
Remember the dot buttons?
The dash buttons.
Dash buttons.
Which have been discontinued now.
No, not the dash buttons.
The dot buttons.
The dot buttons. They actually had like game show style
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That didn't go
didn't
anywhere.
last long.
They've done a lot of stuff. That's fine. That's what you should. You know what? That's called innovation. That's what you should do. Try. Yeah. Well, Fire phones are notoriously worst thing, but I think that's great. And here's Dieter Bohn's picture before we go to break, because we also have a lot of other announcements to talk about. Dieter Bohn's picture of the twerking bear.
Wow.
Everybody should have it. I like it that it, so last year I bought the Big Mouth Billy Bass that Amazon Echo talks through.
Really?
I got that for our kid. He wouldn't set it up. He was spooked by it.
Oh, okay. You bought it for the kid.
I bought it for my kid too.
Right?
Did he set it up?
Yeah, he set it up.
I didn't realize, by the way, I apologize. I didn't realize Zach was so old now.
No, it's Alex, actually.
Alex is so old. Well, Zach's old too.
Zach is 15. Alex is 12.
I can't believe they're so old.
They're so old.
Jeez Louise. I apologize. For some reason, I thought they were still little kids.
They are in my heart.
I know. It goes so fast. I know. Let's take a little break. Perhaps you noticed, I know you did, how sharp I look in my new shirt.
Dapper.
You like this shirt?
Yes.
Isn't that a nice shirt? This is the first shirt I've had that actually fits me in years, and I got it. You won't believe how I got it. It's a tailored shirt made to order for me, and the only thing I had to do to get it measured was take a picture of myself with my smartphone. It works. It's Taylor's store. It is amazing. I have now ordered. In fact, shall I show you? I got some more.
Oh,
they have all the. So first of all, when you go to taylorstore.com/twig, you're really going to enjoy the process, because you get yourself measured, and then you do it very quickly. It's very easy. It's so weird. You put the phone on the ground. I should do it. I should show you. You put the phone on the ground. You should do it, because it'd be hard for you to get shirts, I bet.
It is. This is why I'm so intrigued by this sponsor.
So you put the phone on the ground. You stand. That gives you a frame to stand in, and then it takes a couple of pictures.
Oh, okay.
Automatically, and that's all. You turn sideways. It's like your mugshot. Cool. It's only 2 pictures. But they're using machine learning and statistics to get your measurements. And I can only speak for myself. It's perfect. This fits perfectly.
We have to have this tested on me as well.
Okay, deal. and then you go in the store and you can customize it any way you want. So I got very normal preppy. This is the shirt we're going to give you, by the way. We got a special deal on this shirt. Isn't that nice?
Classic.
But you get different buttons. You get a different thread. You can get different collar styles. They have all kinds of collars. You can get cufflink styles. You can get button style. It goes on and on. It's actually almost, you can, if you want to make it easy, they have a selection of just like, this is it, it's done. But if you like to customize, look at this. I also got this. So this is got flamingos on it. I haven't opened it yet. I'm going to put this on and I'll wear it tomorrow. Spread collar. I think this is really cool. So I got a lot of white shirts, but I also, maybe you noticed the other day I was wearing a black shirt. That was also from a Taylor store.
So this is boutique, essentially.
Yep. The Size:me app is absolutely unique. No tape measure, no hassle. By the way, this is another thing. Now, Jason Howell did it. Now, remember, he's 18 feet tall. So when the first shirt that they sent him wasn't quite right, he said, no, it needs to be longer tail.
Right.
They said, fine, we'll send you another one. Keep that shirt. You don't even send it back. If it doesn't fit perfectly,
nice.
You keep the shirt they sent you, donate it to charity if it really doesn't fit or whatever. Give it to your buddy. And then they'll send you a new one. So there's no risk at all. Here's the other thing I think is really important. I want to emphasize this. This is a Swedish company.
Okay.
They make the shirts in Sri Lanka in a certified, I don't know what the equivalent of fair trade is. Actually, I do. It's called GOTS, Global Organic Textile Standard. They are certified with the workers. They go there all the time, but the workers are well paid, well taken care of. It's not sweatshop labor. They use organic fabrics.
Nice.
It is absolutely conscious. They told me they got so big that they basically took over an entire town in Sri Lanka. Everybody works for Taylor's store, and now they've moved into the next town. But these people are getting great jobs. They love Taylor's store. So you can also buy these shirts knowing they're not being made in a sweatshop somewhere in China. These are made by a socially conscious company. I love this. They're also 100% carbon neutral. They actually inspired me. We're going to make Twit 100% carbon neutral. They buy offsets and plant thousands of trees a year. They buy offsets not just for the cost of shipping the clothing or making the clothing. They buy offsets for the cost of driving to work for every employee.
Wow.
They basically neutralize their CO2 emissions by planting trees. In fact, if you ever want, this is another offer. They said, if you ever are in Sri Lanka, this is for any of you, you want to visit the factory, you can see how it's made. But I also love this because they email you a picture of your shirt being made as it's being made. Your shirts are being made. Here's your shirt. It'll be there in a couple of days. Used to be getting a made-to-measure shirt was a luxury. I've always wanted one. I never thought I could do it. Tailor Store does it. And it's so nice when your shirt fits perfectly. Look, I never could button my collar. I don't know how it knew exactly what my collar size is. I can wear a necktie completely comfortably.
Right.
This is a first for me.
That looks good.
With their exclusive trial price, I've kind of buried the lead. Every new customer gets their first dress shirt starting at $39 plus free shipping. That's half the regular price. And boy, go check how much a tailored shirt costs. It's a lot less. Go to tailorstore.com/twig, offer code TWIG, free shipping, $39 your first shirt. You owe it to yourself just to try it. There are lots of beautiful fabrics and patterns, all kinds. tailorstore.com/twig. You can get the flamingo if you want. I can't wait to wear that. That is such a cool shirt. tailorstore.com/twig, offer code TWIG. The brand new sponsor. Terms and conditions apply. Really great Swedish company. Longtime listeners of Twit. I'm just thrilled we could get them on the show. It was really fun to talk to them and find out what they're doing. Thank you, Taylor Store, and thank you for using that special address so that they know you saw it here. We want them to know that they did the right thing buying Twig. tailorstore.com/twig, offer code TWIG. Did I cover all the Amazon crap? I mean, stuff?
No.
There's more?
No, very importantly. Fetch, Amazon Fetch.
Is it a little dog that gets...
No, it's a collar.
Wait,
what? I wasn't joking at the beginning of the show. I was asking whether Norm was going to be wearing Amazon Fetch.
It is a Echo-enabled collar. Oh, no, it's a pet tracker. This uses that new low frequency wide area network sidewalk. Oh, it is like a little tile. It would hang off your collar. That looks maybe a little big for Norm. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that's too big for him.
Yeah, he's a little guy.
He's a private little bichon anyway.
But and he stays inside. He stays with you, right?
Oh yeah, and he's on a leash when we take him out.
Anytime you let a dog though out.
No, Kevin stays with Norm.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah, so the other way around.
I live in Norm's world.
But you have a couple of dogs. You let them out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's good to have this kind of tag.
So without the mesh, does it really work? So it says here that Amazon handed out 700 devices to employees, friends, and family, and had the LA basin completely covered by the network in 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So that's meshing, right?
Oh, it's a mesh network. So if there's people nearby that have it, that's why they do it with Ring as well. I get it.
That makes sense.
I get it.
Yeah, think of it. It's almost like the Tile Bluetooth trackers, which uses crowdsourced.
Yeah.
Call it.
Right.
It's not
but
mesh.
What if you're the
Bluetooth
first one with
enough.
it? Is it worthless?
I guess so.
Well,
unless it has some Wi-Fi thing or something else built in.
Yeah, I wouldn't say worthless, Jeff, because you should if your pet is within about half a mile, 500 meters, so a little more than a quarter mile, you should still, I'm assuming, see where they are on an app because they'd still be in range.
I see.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Norm has short legs. He'd never even go 500 meters.
Let me ask, though, an ontological question. Do we trust Amazon?
I think most people do.
With your dogs?
With anything. Look at this. Basically, this is a play to put Amazon within 5 feet of you no matter where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I trust them just as much as I trust Google because of the services that they provide for me in my day-to-day
Get a lot of value.
That is it. And I know that I'm not the customer. My data is the customer and the product for them, and I get it. But at the same time, they provide a great service in my day-to-day life. So, yes.
Actually, unlike Google and Facebook, the customer at Google and Facebook is an advertiser. Yes, Amazon makes a lot of money in ads, but really, you are the customer at Amazon.
You're right. Yeah, because
they're making more and more money on ads.
Yeah. So do you think, so that's the question. I mean, if Amazon does all this on your behalf as the customer, that's good. if they do it on behalf of an advertiser, is that bad?
No, I trust them. I trust them.
It was convincing.
No, just because you know what? Because all of the moral panicky dystopian people out there are going to come smashing down on them the first time they do something wrong.
Yeah. That's a good point. They did, didn't they? When people found out that Amazon was listening to recordings, and Amazon
which was a
responded.
ridiculous story in and of itself, because of course they were, and it wasn't a big deal, and they didn't know all your secrets. They were just doing quality assurance, but fine. Everybody came pressing down on them.
Yep. Okay.
It was a moral panic.
I trust them enough because, again, with the way cookies and everything else work, Amazon seems to get what Aunt Pruitt needs to have for day-to-day services or whatever, you know, and I don't have to think very hard about it. If I'm looking for a piece of hardware or what have you for a camera, a photo gig, it already knows what I'm looking for before I start looking.
So I bought,
just based on habits.
When I bought this new camera, I bought it from B&H, right? And I bought the lens from B&H. I ordered it in July. I got it last week. So when it came time to buy another lens for this camera, this time I went to Amazon. I got it in one day. So it's hard not to use Amazon.
Exactly.
So here's
people
the question,
complain
though.
about all of the energy that they use, but 6 days ago, so I guess it's within the period of the show, Bezos announced a sustainability plan, and just beating his employees to threatening to walk out because of this. But he says he's going to drastically reduce carbon emissions with an ultimate goal of being carbon neutral by 2040. And consider how they're mainly a transportation company. That's a big ask.
Let me ask you about this, because we were just talking about carbon neutral. I have a big vacation coming up that it turns out jet airplanes are horrible on the environment. But you know what's worse? Cruise ships. Lisa and I, oh my God.
Really?
Lisa and I are taking a 2-week cruise. I did the carbon calculations on it. That 2-week cruise for 2 people puts more carbon in the atmosphere than one Englishman for a whole year.
I did not know that.
Wow.
So let me ask you. So that made me feel terrible. So I went and I bought carbon credits. Now you have to research, because there's carbon credits and there's carbon credits.
Of course.
I had one that was recommended.
So like some carbon credits that fell off the back of the truck.
Hey, buddy. I had one that was for air travel that was recommended by the Yale School of Environment and Forestry. They really, I think, knew what they were talking about, so I used that one. And then I also looked around, shopped around, and I think I found one that was recommended by the Washington Post for the cruise. And you know, the truth is, carbon credits are not expensive. It's less than 1% of the overall cost. But am I a sucker? Or is this a good thing? Should people do this?
Were you guilty? Or is that what you're asking?
I was guilty. My guilt is a little assuaged. but after all, the better thing to do would be not take the trip.
Not to take the trip.
Well, if you're Greta Thunberg.
I can't tell you to do that.
Take the sailboat with Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, for 3 weeks.
Right.
God bless her. After I saw her speech at the UN, that's when I really started to feel bad. I'm one of those people. She said, you know, basically, it's how dare you? okay, Greta.
Yeah. Do the staterooms have options for oars? Like, could you paddle instead of
that's
hands?
the thing. And it really is. I like to travel, and travel is notoriously bad unless you're walking or bicycling or sailing or taking a train. And so
I'm probably the world's worst when it comes to our environment, so I shouldn't be asked this question.
Well, we all, you know what, we all are. So good for Amazon for doing something about it. They're not just buying credits, by the way. As this story tells you, they ordered 100,000 Rivian electric trucks for delivery.
What an order, huh?
That's amazing.
That's outstanding.
But that tells you
they still have
that they have a real
commitment.
commitment. Yeah,
they still
have to
States
fly
Postal
this
Service,
stuff.
You know,
USPS should have been doing this years ago. This perfect for electric use.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that I drive an electric car.
Right.
We have 60 solar panels on the roof. But honestly, the carbon footprint every American has is devastating the environment. So, somebody says this is actually a great line. Carbon credits are the papal indulgence of this age. Yeah, you're right. But I mean, actual trees are being planted. actual money is being put in.
I imagine since you got a recommendation by Yale, what they're actually planning is Ivy.
Ivy everywhere.
Now,
God bless it.
Mr. Jarvis, you said the USPS should have taken this.
Yeah, think of all those trucks driving around.
What about the funding? Who's going to pay for that? You think the feds?
Well, they have to replace them. They're coming up to a big contract.
Oh, okay.
To replace all the USPS vehicles. Now you're right, and it's going to cost more to get an electric vehicle than it will a internal combustion.
Right. But I think in the long run,
given the life of those vehicles, I wonder whether they pay for themselves pretty quickly.
It's probably a push.
Yeah, but Amazon has that money right here. You know, they can just do it. When you start talking about government, I just don't see it happening swiftly like that.
Well, not with this president. He's done more to turn
in New York
back.
City, the Postal Service has 30 electric 2-ton vehicles.
Ooh.
Well, it's 30.
And you're also seeing mass transit in some cities being converted. New York City just converted, I think, what did I see? It was public safety. NYPD is doing a lot of electric vehicles. So I feel like this
is... Good torque on them, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, there's no reason not to buy an electric car. They are more fun to drive. They're more reliable. They're more economical. I'm amazed gas vehicles have survived as long as they have. I have no question in my mind.
The problem for a police department is the vehicles are probably used 24 hours. Many of them are used 24 hours.
Yeah.
You got no charging time.
Yeah. Right.
USPS, they're only used 8 hours, 10 hours a day. They could have plenty of charging time.
Right.
So, again, am I just buying papal indulgences? Should I just stay home?
Oh, it's a personal choice.
I feel a little better, at least buying carbon credits, knowing that trees will be planted. There's a bunch of things, projects. People in Kenya are being bought more efficient stoves and generators. I mean, there's things you can do.
Again, I'm the worst person to ask.
Yeah,
I know I am.
Because you barbecue every day.
Yes. With hickory, you know.
So just so people know, one of these was goodtraveler.org.
For the carbon offset?
Yeah, that's the one for the cruise, I think, that I got. And then the other one, I should give you both of these in case you want to do this. And then for the airplane... Well, I can't remember what it was. I'll have to find it for you.
Yeah, for a second, I thought you were going to say that the carbon offset costs more than the cruise tickets.
No, it's cheap. That's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
Papal indulgences were expensive.
What were you saying is roughly 1%? Is that what you said?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I think it was 100. The total for everything. By the way, we're basically flying around the world because we're flying from San Francisco to Munich to Athens.
Okay.
Getting on a boat going from Athens to Dubai, that's really not very distant. And then from Dubai to Hong Kong to San Francisco. So we're literally flying around the world.
Wow.
Carbon credits for that whole flight it was only a few $100. I think it was $100, $200, something like that. The whole thing was $700, something like that.
Nice.
So I just put up on the rundown a story from earlier this year of the USPS testing vehicles of various types, hybrid and electric. They're going to buy 180,000 new mail trucks, to answer your question, Aaron.
Okay.
A total cost of $6.3 billion over 5 years. Their target is $25,000 to $35,000 per truck.
That's fair.
But there is a chance now to make an impact.
Yeah.
So the Good Traveler, I'm wrong. The Good Traveler is for airlines. And this one is fairly inexpensive. You could put in the, and by the way, you tell them, so for every 1,000 miles of flying, it's $2.
Okay.
Or 400 miles of driving. So it's not bad. And you tell them what your local airport is, and they try to do projects near your local airport, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, I think that it's kind of interesting. This is the one that the forestry school recommended, and then I'll find the other one because this is just for air travel.
It's pretty neat having a local connection too.
It makes me feel better.
Back.
I don't know. I hope it makes the world a better place.
And if things were right with the world, you should get a tax deduction for carbon credits to give more incentive. There should be more rewards and incentives. Besides, yes, it should be sufficient just to make up for what you're doing, but there could be policy decisions here that would affect how everyone operates.
Yeah.
Mr. Jarvis, I will say I did not consider 25 to 35K. I thought it would have been a little bit higher than that.
I would have too.
Durability that those vehicles have to go.
Our Chevy Bolt is $30,000. That's a great vehicle. That's a great vehicle. Now that's expensive for what would normally be maybe an $18,000 car because the batteries are expensive.
But it's
going to save us a lot of money in gas. It's going to save us a lot of money in maintenance.
That's $30,000 for a passenger vehicle.
A four-door passenger vehicle.
Think about
a truck,
a mail route, and what it has to deal with.
They're really simple.
Those mail trucks look a lot like a Chevy Bolt. They're not. The only thing is the steering wheel's on the right, but other than that,
there's nothing comfortable about it.
I know those country roads back home can beat up a car. Yeah.
There's no rosewood dashboard in these things.
No, I know that, but I'm just thinking from a maintenance standpoint. I would have assumed they would be a little more expensive just to.
Well, the suspension and stuff, but boy, those engines, electric engines, are basically maintenance free. That's what's amazing. If you look at the difference between a gas vehicle, which is so complex, and you have a transmission, you have a lot of other things. There's no transmission in an electric vehicle,
right?
So I think maybe it's a. Yeah, it's.
I've been meaning to ask this. Go ahead. Kevin.
I was going to say I've had two Chevy Volts, not the pre-Bolt, obviously the Volts,
hybrids. Yeah.
And I would take it in, every 6 to 12 months, and they'd maybe do an oil change, rotate the tires. That's it. There's nothing to do. That's awesome. And the only reason they had to do the oil change is because the generator is what powers the battery when you're out of battery juice, so there's nothing to them.
Here's my question: since I live in an area that gets snow and I live on a very, very steep driveway, for that alone, I have to have four-wheel drive. Does the torque of the electric car solve that or not?
No. Well, many of them are four-wheel drive. My Tesla was. You have an engine in the front, engine in the back. All four wheels are active.
Nice.
I don't think that makes any difference. The big issue, of course, in the cold is that lithium-ion batteries really like to be in a very narrow range, but almost all these vehicles now will have heaters for the battery and coolers for the batteries because they heat up when you're charging them. So, that's part of keeping the battery reliable and long-lasting. I don't know. This is hard, but I feel like if everybody's got to do a little something. We all got to do a little something.
Well, you could buy simpler computers like Chromebooks.
Absolutely.
Good segue.
Man. Let's talk about the new, what's it called?
Rumored.
Should this be I guess it's not changelog till it's here, right?
Yeah. Right. No, this is not changelog. No, this is a bigger story than that. Leo. Changelog is just little tiny things.
Oh, good. Okay.
This is earth-shattering news.
Pixelbook.
And we have the expert of all experts right here to talk about it.
Well,
this is a big story.
We should go to aboutchromebooks.com and read all about it, right, Karsten?
Yeah. At least that's where I
went. Tell us about it, Mr. T. What do we know?
Well, we don't. I wouldn't say we know anything.
In fact, you just wrote an article of your thoughts about the leaks, which I think is...
Yes, we have leaks from 9 to 5 Google, and kudos to them. They claim to have good sourcing, and I have a lot of data that backs up what they've said, and I have no data to dispute what they've said. Yep. So I'm going to go with assuming this is what Google will announce on October 15th. The image that they presented is the same image that I presented back in May. I mean, I saw this device, and Jeff, I don't think you're going to be happy. I almost want to not talk about it. I almost want to start by saying, what, Jeff, do you want in the next Pixelbook? I'm kind of curious.
I want the same one I have, just newer.
In LTE, right?
I'd like that.
LTE. Right.
And I didn't think I would be using the what do you call it? Roll around design.
Two in one tablet mode. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think, but I use it when I travel, using up carbon on planes. I watch movies.
You need to buy some credits, my friend. TheGoodTraveler.com. You'll just feel better about it.
Well, based on what we know, Jeff, you won't be doing that on a plane because this is going to be a clamshell. The Pixelbook Go is the name of this.
Clamshell.
So no flipping over into tablet mode, no pen support either, apparently, and that's a deal breaker for some people.
I bought the pen. I've never
used my pen either. Yep.
That's fine. That's fine.
Samsung still sells a Chromebook with pen. You can still go with Samsung.
Yeah. My Acer Chromebook Spin 13 has a pen. Not as good, but it works. So
that's the question. Pixelbooks have in the past been the highest priced of all Chromebooks.
And the highest end.
And the highest end.
Oh, yeah.
And this sounds like pretty high end.
This is not as high end, you think.
Well, M3, i5, or i7, this is according to 9to5 Google, 8 or 16 gigs of RAM, that's very high end. Storage options of 64, 128, and 256 gigs. And they say eMMC based, which is that's the good one, right? That's the good solid.
No,
that's the slow one.
The faster.
You want SSD, not eMMC. Okay.
Right. Yeah, essentially.
Type-C ports, but they're USB, of course, because Chromebook doesn't support Thunderbolt.
What?
ChromeOS.
Well, it shouldn't.
Why not?
Type-C is a real standard. Thunderbolt's Apple crap.
Oh, my God.
Here we go.
Who wants to take this one? No, Thunderbolt is not Apple crap. It's a standard, and it's actually a great standard. It's on your PC. It's on most PCs these days. In fact, the only people who don't seem to like it very much, besides Google, is oddly enough Microsoft, which has refused to put it on its Surface devices. But it is really great. It's super fast. It's supported by Windows. Macintosh supports it. Linux supports it now, but ChromeOS does not. Not that you need it. I mean, storage has never been the sine qua ultra of the. I don't know what that even means.
I'm trying to break it down. I was like, that sounds
the
French-ish.
Sine qua non. It's a little Latin. Without which nothing for the Chrome OS. Because you're not doing storage. You're supposed to do everything at the cloud.
Yeah, you don't store large files often and move them around, I guess, is probably the more accurate thing to say. Yeah. So let's if we can go back to the processors, because Google has learned from the Celeron debacle of the Pixel Slate that people don't want that, especially if it's going to have a 1080p or 4K display that it's going to be driving. And that's the options that you're going to see here, according to what we know. The processors are the same M3, i5, i7 as the Pixel Slate, meaning they are the 8th gen Y series chips, which are low powered. Not a big upgrade from what you have today, Jeff. I hate to say it. It's just a one generation upgrade. And to be honest, it's almost a generation behind at this point, because we now have 9th and 10th gen.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the reason, and I said this a couple months ago, the reason I did not wait for a Pixel Slate and drop big money on this Acer Chromebook Spin with 16 gig of RAM is because it uses the U series Intel processors, which can run. They're more, it's less of a mobile device. Yeah. You need a fan for that, which obviously the Pixel Slate didn't, and I don't think the Pixelbook Go will need a fan, but it can run longer hotter. It can run longer under load. So I can do Android Studio on this device. I can do all my IntelliJ, my Python, my Java, everything else, because it has the next level up processor. These processors were available on the Pixel Slate a year ago. If the Pixelbook Go leaked specs are correct, Google could have released this device a year ago. That's what's got me irked right now.
Is there any evidence that these processors are better battery-wise than the 9th gen? Is that the only reason they would stick around with it?
You know what, Ant, that's a great question. I don't think it has anything to do with battery. I think it has to do with purchasing power. Dell, HP, Lenovo, they can get huge bulk discounts on the 9th and 10th gen Intel chips, right? Yep. Google doesn't make a lot of computers with processors in them. Right. They don't have that kind of bulk pull. So it's easier for them to just use last year's chips, save some money, hopefully not charge us a lot. But the rumor is these will be priced like the Pixel Slate. I don't know who these are going to be for, who this Pixelbook Go is for. I just don't get it. Because Leo, as you said, it's always been the high-end, high-priced model. Yeah. Now you've got higher-priced and lower-priced, higher-spec models from Acer, Lenovo, Dell, HP. So where does this fit in? I don't see it.
Why does Google do Chromebooks? They need to do one to show what can be done. Is it a reference design?
Right, that's what they always did.
Is it the high end that no one else will make? Is it for their own staff? I mean, clearly there's what's nice this year compared to earlier years, perhaps, is there's a very nice range of Chromebooks available from $200 to $1,000.
A wide range.
So Google doesn't need to prove anything anymore.
Right.
So why do they make a Chromebook?
I think it's all of the above. I think it's a little bit of each item you just mentioned. It's to show what can be done. It's to show something unique. Like the Google, made by Google Chromebooks have a dedicated assistant button, whereas none of the others have that, for example.
Well, actually, that's changing, incidentally.
It is. In fact, it changed effectively today because ChromeOS 77 hasn't been announced, but it's showing up on Chromebooks. And if you enable it and hit your search A button, the assistant will actually pop up for you, which is fantastic.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's still not a dedicated search button, although it can only be a matter of time before companies start putting those out.
Yeah.
I mean, voice button, not search. There is search.
There was a reason for Google to make its own Chromebooks before. Now I see less of a reason because of what you just said. Yeah. There are a range of Chromebooks from $200 to $1,000. I paid $819 for this Chromebook, which is far more powerful than what's expected in the Pixelbook Go, and probably less than the cost of the Pixelbook Go. So I just don't know. I almost feel like the Pixel slate didn't take off the way they hoped, and they scaled the next Pixelbook back and just said, let's just get this out there. I don't know that for sure. It's just speculation. But
why bother? Because as you say, there are good machines. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So if I don't want a fan, and I'm not doing quite the heavy stuff you're doing, but I've loved my Pixelbook that I have, what would you recommend to me?
Acer?
Well, I mean, I like my Acer. It's not quite as high quality of a display, and it does have a fan. So that's out for you, Jeff.
What's the best display out there?
Lenovo's got the Yoga Chromebook C630 with a 4K option.
Nice. That, by the way, the rumor is this Go will also have a 4K option.
Yes, it will have an option. But
that
listen,
kills battery life, I should point out.
But will those chips push it?
Oh yeah.
Yes, because it's the Intel UHD 620
chip that does.
Oh, that's okay. That's
it's fine. The Lenovo with the 4K, I've seen it on sale with the U series processor, the better processor. I think for $619, $620. I mean, that's the sale price. The regular price is like $899, but it seems to go on sale like every 2 weeks, Jeff. But
it's machine.
That is not. That's a 15.4-inch display. So that's not light. The Go, see, that's the thing. What's with this Go name? That's the other thing. Maybe this is made maybe more of plastic instead of metal, like the Pixelbook, and the Go it's lighter. Lightweight. So maybe that's your thing. I don't know until they announce it, but if you want a 4K display and a 13-inch screen.
No, I don't need a 4K. I mean, I love the machine I have now. It's just that it's coming to the end of its useful life, and I'm gonna have to buy something.
Long in the tooth.
Is it though? I mean,
it's acting. The screen will sometimes flash black. I'm afraid it's gonna die on me.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, I was gonna say software update wise, it should be okay for 6 years.
How about the thing Leo's complained about, the bezels? Have there been any rumors about how big the bezels are on the Go?
Honestly, from what we've seen so far, it looks very much like a Pixel Slate screen attached to a keyboard, right? And those bezels are okay. They're not
average.
Great.
Yeah,
they're average. Yeah.
So the other thing
I
is
wouldn't do anything just yet. Well, that's actually a good point, and I think it's $550 for the base model with the keyboard, which is ridiculous. I still like that device. It got a bad rap, yes, for good reason when it launched back in November. But software updates have come along and made that thing much, much better. That's what I was using for my comp sci classes until I got the Acer.
Wow.
So, if for $550, I'd take the chance. That's just me.
We were talking about you actually on Windows Weekly because you are able to use a Chromebook, get programming done. Do you use Android Studio or what do you use?
I use Android Studio for my own things. I use IntelliJ IDEA for classwork, a range of tools.
And you do that by turning on Linux on your Chromebook?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's another issue. Now, I know Jeff does not want to turn on Linux, but Android Store probably, right? Do all modern Chromebooks now support Linux and Android stores? Is that, or because it used to be some hardware didn't, some hardware didn't?
Correct. At Google I/O, Google had said that all new Chromebooks going forward would have Crostini or Linux support, yes. And Android, the Google Play Store, has been standard on all new Chromebooks for about 2 years.
Okay. Let's say at least since 2015.
Do you think the leaks are credible?
I do.
Okay.
I do. And you know what? Some people are saying maybe Go. In fact, some of my readers said this, and it's very astute of them. The Go name could be because it's a lower end model, just like the Android Go phones. But what refutes that to me is a 4K display and high-end amounts of storage. So I don't know about that. Some people are saying maybe there's a second, better one coming out, but I've seen no evidence of that. So I don't know.
So I tuned into Windows Weekly late. Was I hearing Paul Thurrott actually praise Chromebooks?
Yeah, he said he uses it for like the second half of his day.
He has a whole series at Thurrott.com. It's unfortunately you have to be a premium subscriber. I am, but he has a whole series on using a Chromebook.
It's a great series.
It is. It's really good.
Yeah.
Paul,
yeah, it is.
A lot of props to Paul because even though he's a Windows journalist and covers Windows, he has always been open,
agnostic,
to other stuff. Yeah. And he's like us. He's a geek. Yeah. He doesn't have. He doesn't let his biases get, or his not even biases. He doesn't let his professional interests get in the way of his wide-ranging, coverage. And I think it's great. I think it's really good. Yeah. Hey, big deal, which we'll talk about in just a second. Google no, not you, Google.
Outstanding.
Not you, Google. Not that Google. The other Google may have made a massive computing breakthrough. We'll talk about it in just a minute, but first, a word from our sponsor. This episode of This Week in Google is brought to you by PayPal Credit. Use PayPal Credit for any purchases you want to make, big or small. You might have a trip you want to take, flights, car rentals, hotels, tickets, etc. Or a new computer, sound system, monitor, or phone you've been wanting to buy. Or for the sneakerheads out there, well, it seems there's always a new shoe that comes out you just have to have. You can buy what you want today and pay over time with PayPal Credit. And PayPal Credit offers 6 months special financing on purchases of $99 or more. Some great things about PayPal Credit. It's a digital reusable credit line built into your account with PayPal. No card needed. It's accepted at millions of online stores where PayPal is accepted. You can use PayPal Credit with your existing account with PayPal, and checkout is seamless. If you don't have an account with PayPal, you can open one for free. PayPal Credit is great for large expenses or when something unexpected comes up. Applying's easy. Just answer a few quick questions and get a credit decision in seconds. Enjoy 6 months special financing on purchases of $99 or more. Go to paypal.com/twit to learn more and apply for PayPal Credit. Minimum monthly payments required, subject to credit approval. That's paypal.com/twit. Quantum Supremacy. I just love the phrase.
I, for one, welcome my new quantum supremacy master.
For years, we've been talking about quantum computing. I admit, for years, poo-pooed the notion of a working quantum computer. People were up in arms about quantum computing, saying we've got to find a new form of cryptography because a quantum computer will be so much faster than an existing von Neumann machine that none of our crypto will work. So Google's been doing some work in secret. NASA, which was a partner in this work, inadvertently published a paper which they almost immediately unpublished, but before too long, people were able to get a copy of it.
Of course.
The Google research paper was titled Quantum Supremacy Using a Programmable Superconducting Processor. Quantum supremacy is a term used by quantum computing folks. In fact, I'll point you to a really good and completely impenetrable blog post by the guy who coined the term, Scott Aronson. It's actually really great. Scott's Supreme Quantum Supremacy FAQ. He talks about what quantum supremacy is, but I will attempt in my own way to define it. It is essentially a proof that quantum computing works if a quantum computer can do something significantly faster than a Turing machine can do, then that's quantum supremacy. And in fact, in this paper, it was asserted that the Google quantum computer was able to solve a problem 50,000 times faster than the world's fastest traditional supercomputer.
That's amazing.
It's it's not a task you would want.
Right.
It's not solving a problem that anyone cares about, but it's merely a demonstration that you could do it. The
proof of concept there.
It's kind of a random number thing, but it was able to do it, according to the paper, in 3 minutes and 20 seconds, what would take the world's fastest supercomputer Summit 10,000 years. But if you read the blog by Scott Aronson, you'll realize that it's more complicated than that. It's more complicated than that. So if you really care about quantum supremacy, it's probably worth reading this. He basically confirms the post, saying, yeah, I was involved in this. I've been trying not to tell anybody for a long time. It's been a big secret. Google pulled the article because they want to make a big splash when they announce it. It probably would behoove everybody to understand a little bit more about what this means. It does not mean that a quantum computer is around the corner. By the way, he says, I did not create the quantum supremacy phrase. It was coined by John Preskill in 2012.
Oh.
But he's widely considered to be the guy who first... Anyway, that establishes his bona fides for this article. And he talks about what the problem solved was likely to be and what it means, and it doesn't mean a lot of things. So this is important. It might, in fact, be the kind of thing that you'll look back and say, oh, I remember back in 2019 when we first... He likens it, Aronson likens it to Kitty Hawk.
Yeah.
So the first flight of the Wright brothers, which, by the way, didn't become public for months.
Right.
Certainly didn't imply that we'd be able to fly across the country or around the world in a jet airplane.
Just hobbyists doing
but
what they
it was
do.
the first time humans flew for any appreciable distance. And that's kind of what this is. So,
what does it mean to Bitcoin?
Oh, well, that's an interesting question. Some people brought this up. I don't know if it means anything for Bitcoin. It would mean maybe if you could create a Bitcoin miner out of a quantum computer, which, by the way, that's years and years off. You could perhaps make us some money, but that's not likely. Remember, these quantum computers have to be super cooled. They're very expensive to run. Right. They're very difficult to create, and they're incredibly unstable.
Right.
So it's not a practical
Sounds like
solution.
the perfect computer.
Yeah, just what you want. If you think
if you're an evil rich monster, what do you do with it?
Nothing. It doesn't mean anything.
Not worth the trouble, even for evil rich monsters.
Not unless you've got the research means of NASA and Google. No, but it's fascinating. And if anybody watches our shows and is interested in this kind of stuff, probably really should read Scott Aronson's blog. His blog is scotaaronson.com, SCOTTAARONSON.com. But you could also search for Quantum Supremacy FAQ. You'd probably find it pretty dark. I doubt there's more than one. A big victory for Google in a right to be forgotten case. I'm sure, Jeff, you thought, well, there's some good news out there.
This was good news this week. Yeah, I mean, it's not 100% good news, but it's good news all around. There were two big right to be forgotten cases, but the most visible one was countries trying to say that we can demand that you take down stuff worldwide, which is to say that we would end up with the lowest common denominator internet if it's Turkey or Iran or Hungary or pick your country you don't like for what they're doing these days in an authoritarian government, could demand that things be taken down around the world. And the Europe's court said no. It can be taken down throughout the EU, and they're trying to say that the platforms have to work very hard to make sure that you discourage people from going to make an American search to get around it. But it recognized freedom of expression. It recognized that one nation should not control the speech of the world. And I think it was a critically important moment.
Good. Yeah, it only makes sense. I mean, Christ, if Google had to delete, posts because the French said, "Oh, that's wrong," all over the world, that would would no longer be a useful.
And meanwhile, the other thing that happened, I think, just before we came on, was that Europe's copyright directive, which I hate, which is old industries going for protectionism, requiring two things. One, it's a link tax that if you want to put a snippet up, you're supposed to pay the publisher or the creator. And number two is copyright protection, supposedly. So France is the first country, of course, to implement this. And Google is refusing to pay publishers for their content. Google will only put up a snippet, a preview, which you're going to want online. They're only going to put it up if the publisher says, okay, you can do that for free. If not, they're going to put up nothing but the link itself. And guess who's going to get hurt there? Idiot publishers. Guess. Idiot publishers.
Stupid.
And the public, because if you want to see more sources for news and you want to see more things and more sampling, so it's just stupid all around. But these protectionist industries that think that the way to, I was at, full disclosure, I was at Google Newsgeist in Cartagena over the weekend, where we pay our own expenses, but they buy the food and the booze, of which there's plenty. And I sat in a room again with editors and one or two publishers, and I said, I sat in a similar room in the European event a few months ago, and the publishers are going off thinking this is going to save them. If we could just hurt Google, that'll save us. We'll be okay again, which is just absolutely mind-exploding, insane. Protectionism doesn't work. It's not. It creates no value. But they're all using their political clout. As I said last week on the show, in my very long medium dystopia of dystopians, I think this all goes to a bad place. But we saw some protection from the platforms. In both cases, Google fought against the copyright directive making them pay for content, which would hurt the entire web. And Google fought against erasing history. So good on Google.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Hollywood is not the biggest Google fan right now.
Who is?
Well, this is an unusual story. On Monday evening, a bunch of Mac Pro workstations in Hollywood studios stopped working. These were rendering movie frames. They were editing video. Google issued a mea culpa saying, oh, we did that. Apparently, a Chrome update damages the file system on Mac OS machines.
So scary.
Oh, my God.
So scary.
And
a simple little browser.
Jeez.
Thank goodness for redundancy. That is super scary.
How could a browser do that?
Well, Macintosh has something called System Integrity Protection, which is an awesome thing, SIP. It keeps unauthorized software from modifying protected data. And incidentally, it's even stronger in the new version of Mac OS, El Capitan. No, not El Capitan. Corsica. No, not Elba. No, Catalina. I knew it was an island. Anyway, Catalina.
Yeah.
So California.
Staten Island.
Catalina is really aggressive. I find myself constantly going, no, it's okay, let's install this. And I've in the past had problems with some software not installing.
Right.
It's just, it is an issue, but it's a good thing. I think on balance, it protects Macintosh users. But it turns out video editors often disable it to run their third-party graphics cards. So for instance, the entire video editing team working on Modern Family. So if Modern Family comes out late this week, you'll know why.
Again, redundancy.
You have to boot into recovery mode. There are a long series of terminal commands that will remove the Google software update, restore the damaged portion of the file system. In other words, it's not permanent, thank God. But it just shows you the risk inherent in this. It was first identified, I want to give credit to Mr. Macintosh, MrMacintosh.com. He was the first to discover this. And it's just a little thing. It's an easy thing to have happen.
How hard was it to tie it to Chrome when the machine started going?
Well, I don't think the editors really were able to, but I think once people figured out that what was happening was a symlink. So normally the /var system is unavailable. You can't modify it with an update because that's protected by SIP. If you turn off SIP, then any software you can install can modify system files. So there was a symlink in the /var directory, not sure why, that was deleted by Chromium. It would take a sharp eye to figure that out, but I mean, that's why people figure this out. After rebooting, you'd install the Chrome update. After rebooting, you'd get a kernel panic, and you'd be in a boot loop: kernel panic, kernel panic, kernel panic, kernel panic. Avid users, some of the first to report the issue because they use third-party graphics cards. They turn off SIP. Mm-hmm. And that is nasty. It only affects 10.9 through 10.14 Mojave. Not sure if Catalina would be affected. Probably if you're not running beta operating system software. If you're editing a national TV show on a short deadline. At first, some people thought it was Avid causing the problem.
That's when I first saw this story. I thought it was just all Avid.
Google said it was us. It was the
because all of the Adobe.
They admitted it quickly.
And thank you, Google, for admitting it, and for publishing a fix. Even more important.
Mm-hmm.
So,
was it all a one day? It was a crisis, but it was a one-day crisis.
No, I think it took more than a few days to figure it out.
More than a few days. Okay, right. So some people were sitting there with dead Macs.
Yeah. That's when you go out and you buy a whole new computer. You spend $50,000. Oh, yeah. I mean, whew. So anything you want to say about ChromeOS 77?
The funny thing is, apparently it's going out to just about every Chromebook out there, and I have not yet seen
you didn't get it.
Google mention it.
Oh,
I have it. I run a couple Chromebooks. Yeah, I have it. I run a couple devices. So I run one on stable. This is ChromeOS 77 stable. And then I have dev and beta and whatnot on other versions. But on the Chrome releases blog before the show, and even now, I do not see that they have announced this. Anyway, Jeff, you probably have an update waiting. I wouldn't do it right now, but
not in the middle of the show. It's a worthy update.
You can download it now. That's the beauty of it. You can download it now.
Right.
When you restart after the show. It'll be there. But so they haven't. There's no announcement of what's in it. I mean, I've seen some things that are in it. One is, as we mentioned earlier in the show, that many other Chromebooks other than the made by Google devices will have the Google Assistant built in, which is fantastic. Let's see, there's HD copy protected content support for Android apps. So if you have an app that uses HDMI 1.4, for example, you couldn't previously pipe that out from a Chromebook to a TV. Now you can do that if that's important to you. The volume control for orientation, they have fixed that on convertibles because that was backwards when you flip the device upside down. File formats, you can now format external drives, flash drives, and you can pick and choose between your file format, between FAT32, NTFS, etc. So that's kind of nice. But
wouldn't you just stick the FAT32 on? Well, no, that's just if you're in a Chromebook world, right?
Yeah, I think that might have been the default prior to, but so not a huge amount of updates that I know of right now. But I literally just updated in class before I came here and haven't really dug around too much.
I'm downloading it right now.
There you go.
Okay, but don't hit reboot.
Don't restart.
Don't hit reboot.
Don't worry, I'm not using it for this. For you, it's okay. It's weird though, Kevin. Back in the day, new OS versions would come out, and all the new features and all this. We get all excited. Of course, this is absolutely unnoticeable, which is the whole point of Chrome. But they don't. When new features come out, you don't really get a place to clearly, except by reading you. But for the consumer, I think entire new features and new commands come out, and people don't even know it.
So I agree with you, and I'll be honest, Jeff, when I was at Google working with the Chrome Enterprise team, I raised this issue to anybody who would listen. And actually, the enterprise side does do a good job of explaining what's in there for enterprises. On the other side, the consumer side, it has not been good. However, you will probably notice this when you update, because I'm looking right now. When you go in your settings in ChromeOS 77, underneath the check for updates button, there's a new link called See What's New. It's not like a super detailed log. I'm going to.
Well, that's right. They announced they were going to do that.
That's better than nothing, though.
Correct. Yeah. So I'm looking at it now on mine, and yeah, it's showing me the Google Assistant integration, the new media controls at the bottom right of your display, which is nice to have. New Family Link feature. The Chromebook camera app has been updated. Automatic clicks, which is something if you for accessibility, if you just hover over a link for X amount of seconds, it will just click it for you. So that's really all that they're showing there in the what's new, but it's a step.
Do you keep a machine on Canary, Kevin?
I generally don't do Canary. And for those who don't know, Canary changes almost every day, if not multiple times a day. So it's constantly, it's where all of the Google Chromium team software changes go into, and then they push it out and it gets tested and so on. And then
so you
eventually
can be in the beta channel, which is less than Canary. How often does beta get updated?
Beta is updated every 2 weeks. I use also the dev channel on a third device, and that's updated every couple of days or so. And ChromeOS is updated roughly every 6 weeks, so you can see a couple iterations in beta. You see far more in dev, but things are kind of maybe broken. I wouldn't do that on a production machine. My production machine for class and all runs stable. But yeah, it's nice to see. And the nice thing is, if you needed to restore a Chromebook, I mean, it's all of a 5-minute process.
Good old power wash.
Good old power wash. Yep.
That's true. Yep. It's really easy to back out.
Which I haven't done in probably a year, and probably it's hygiene just to do it. Yeah, I don't need to do it.
Yeah. Just make sure that any local data that you have stored on there,
that's all.
You connect that Thunderbolt 3 drive and copy everything off. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
So Facebook also had an event today.
That snuck up on me.
Yeah. And they announced this. Are you going to play Horizon, a massively multiplayer virtual reality world? Get ready, Ready Player One. This will launch in closed beta early next year. You'll design your own avatar, hop between virtual locales through portals called telepods. You'll watch movies and consume... No, you won't. You'll watch movies and consume other media with friends and play multiplayer games together like Wing Strikers. It'll include human guides known as Horizon Locals who can give users assistance and protect their safety so trolls can't run rampant. Wow. Now, remember Facebook Spaces, which we played a little bit with when the Oculus Rift came out and was really weird and not very much fun.
I can't say I remember Spaces.
Yeah, you'd have to have a Rift to play it. And when we tried it, I think on the new screensavers, oh, shucks, I can't sign up. You have to have a Facebook account to play this.
See what you lose.
Oh, actually, I take it back. You can create an Oculus account. Actually, I have one because we do have an Oculus Rift. So, but I don't know. I can't stay too long in a VR world.
I didn't even know this event was happening today, and I saw
it's their big Oculus event.
A couple of headlines pop up about it, and I like that they're updating. I don't think this piece mentions it, but they're updating the interface to allow you to use your hands more instead of using the actual controllers.
That's good.
So to track your fingers and digits and so forth.
Did you do Second Life when Second Life was big?
I did not. I wasn't that nerdy just yet. But
you want to know what my Second Life handle is?
What was it?
Prune Face Spatula. And that was randomly picked by an engine. But yeah, Second Life got weird.
Yeah.
Towards the end, and actually I think it's still going.
Yeah, Dwight Schrute still plays it.
Yeah, of course he does. He's got his own beet farm in Second Life. I think there was a lot of sexy stuff going on.
Yeah.
Because you could buy a nude suit.
I heard about that.
It was weird. It was weird. Here is a video. I don't think there'll be nude suits in Facebook of Horizon. Here's a video of talking
Beyond our world.
Oh, wait a minute. First of all,
another world.
Do you want to be the nerdy person while your husband's making dinner in the kitchen, who's standing in the living room dancing with strangers?
That's terrible.
It's better you finally put them to work.
On my face. Welcome. This is
not
Horizon.
actual VR footage.
Think of me as your guide / self-appointed spokesman.
I have no legs.
No legs.
I am floating.
That's Orko.
Oh, this is creepy that nobody has legs.
It really is.
Is this like?
Why didn't they include legs?
Remember the Nintendo Wii?
These are like we what do they call them? Weegians? Weebies?
Something like that.
Or people telling you not to fly.
Her poor husband really looks
your
kind
fresh
of
ground, fair trade, French press morning coffee through a curly straw. Isn't that right, Debbie? Mm-hmm. It's about getting out there, trying new things, making your mark.
You know, it doesn't bother you so much if you don't have legs when you're sitting in an airplane, but boy, if you're in
making friends with an
walking
Australian
around.
named Mark.
This is the creepy line.
I'm from New Zealand.
I mean, how do you carry your wallet
And
in
you
this
can
world?
even build a world of your own, like laser tag moon landing. Or this islandy place with these cutie patooties.
All right.
In Horizon, the world is your
I wish it would be like this, but this is not.
That too. So
Yeah,
come,
right,
join us. A never-ending, ever-changing
It's a
world
mistake to
beyond
make
your
this video
wildest
because it promises
really is.
something that it cannot
Debbie
deliver.
gets it.
It's very Ready Player One.
Look at the demographics, though, of the people in that video. What are the age groups you saw for those?
They're all
ladies?
30-somethings, I guess.
Now, do you really think?
No.
Right.
The other thing they don't show you, they show you these people walking around, but obviously she can't walk around. She'll run into her husband making breakfast.
Right.
So you have to have other ways of motivating that are, you throw a thing and you pull it or something, and it's not like that. So anyway,
I appreciate the effort because, again, when I read it, I was thinking Ready Player One. But when you look at Ready Player One, he had all of these extra devices, the little treadmill and so forth.
Yeah, that's how you have to move around.
And everybody's not going to do that.
No.
This is...
So what's interesting about this, though, one of the most popular parts of Second Life was the ability to build stuff, create your own stuff. And they are doing that. So you have tools that will let you create your own. They have a world builder. You can create your own gaming arenas, vacation chill spots.
I like the idea of community.
Tropical island.
That's not necessarily.
And they did play that up,
gamer-centric.
right?
Right.
So she had a friend who was drinking her coffee through the swirly straw, another one in New Zealand.
See, nowadays, when you talk about communities, you hear it more for the people playing Fortnite or whatever the most popular game at the time is. But this is just regular people connected in another version of Facebook, if you will.
Well, we wondered, Facebook spent a lot of money on Oculus, and we all wondered what was the plan.
Something like that.
And so this is clearly the plan. Is it? I guess it is next generation Facebook.
I dig that, but again, you just look at the demographics and look at the hardware that's going to be required. You have a hard time just getting people to watch the VR videos on their phone because they don't want to do that.
Do you think it's going to be...
Now you start talking about headsets and things.
It's only going to be the people who use Facebook today, the olds, that are using this.
Right.
So maybe they'll all look like 30-somethings, but they'll really be 60-somethings.
There's that.
Jeff, I'll meet you in Horizon.
There's that.
Yeah. We have no legs. It's okay.
It's okay.
We can't walk anyway.
We don't have to worry about anything.
Don't have to have a walker.
No.
Because we have no legs.
I can sit on the virtual porch, eat a cracker from the virtual cracker barrel. We can play checkers, you and me.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeehaw.
Kevin, we should see ourselves out.
I hear you. This is why I take classes with the younglings.
Do they play Roblox, or are they too old for Roblox in your class?
They're not doing Roblox.
So that's the youngs are doing Roblox, right? And that's kind of got its own world too. So maybe they're going to grow into this. Also at Oculus Connect, Facebook announced they're acquiring Control Labs, CTRL Labs, that lets you, control computers with your mind. Actually, they announced this you know what? It's so funny because the giga ohm diaspora is everywhere. We just read Yanko Rutger's story in Variety. This is Kurt Wagner writing for Bloomberg. All the people you used to work with, Kevin. Facebook acquired a 4-year-old startup, closely held, dozens of employees. They've raised tens of millions in venture capital. They use a bracelet to measure neuron activity in your arm to determine the movement that you're thinking about, even if you're not moving, which is then, see, this would be good for a virtual world, and translated into movement on a digital screen. Mm-hmm. So who needs the 360-degree conveyor belt or whatever that thing was, treadmill? You just put a little strap on your thigh.
Put a sensor on.
And a little strap on your arms, and you think walk, and you think move. We don't know how much they spent, but Kurt says between $500 million and $1 billion.
Jeez.
Holy cow.
Now, when they get those data points, I wonder, again, security standpoint of it, who's going to take care of that data? Who's going to own it?
You can have the data about what my thigh is thinking. I don't care.
Well, but if you're talking about tracking...
I'll tell you what my thigh is thinking right now.
If you're putting sensors on that's doing electrical impulses and
you think they can read your mind?
You never know.
Another Facebook news. Jeff Jarvis, you tell me. Facebook has decided that if a politician says it, it's okay.
So they call people sometimes, and they actually called me, not because I work for them, I don't consult for them, I don't anything. Full disclosures, I raise money for the school.
Are you going to be on that committee? Are you going to end up being on
No.
All right.
I have too many cooties. But they called me as they were grappling with this issue about newsmakers, about newsworthiness. And Twitter was grappling with the same thing, and Twitter beat them to the punch. So Twitter said, if a politician says something that otherwise would violate their rules, they'll leave it up but put a notice on saying this is a no-no. Facebook, to my surprise, decided to leave it up and not put a notice on it because they think that's kind of meddling in politics on its own, that notice itself has political impact. The problem with that, and I kind of get that, but the problem with that in my mind is, number one, it creates a two-tier system that politicians can do what citizens can't do, and that's just wrong. I had argued to them that they should not take down the politician's thing, that the politician should be up there for all to see, and we should see the politician's sins. I do think they should mark it and say this would violate our standards. The reason we're leaving it up is because this person is a newsmaker of this sort. But they decided not to do that, and we'll see how it goes. What's going to happen is that certain major politicians are going to put up stuff, and people are going to scream that it should be taken down, and they're not going to because that's their policy now. But neither are they going to label it, and there's going to be no repercussions for bad behavior. The more I think about it, I don't. Well. Yeah, I'm not crazy about the decision.
It's passing the buck.
Again, I don't think they should have taken it down. I think politicians should have to live with their infamy.
Yeah.
But I think Facebook doesn't make a stand. Yeah.
Oh, there's so much news today. I'm not going to get to it all. I'll do a couple of quickies here, and anybody who wants to, say anything can jump in. Great interview with Maureen Dowd in the New York Times with Bob Iger, the chairman of Disney. He says, we decided not to buy Twitter at the last minute because the nastiness on the platform is extraordinary.
And thank goodness, could you imagine a Disney-fied Twitter?
Yick.
Oh.
Yick. Facebook and Google have ad trackers on your TV. The weirdest part of this story was the research that said even if you don't have a Netflix account, the Netflix app on your Roku or other device is still watching what you're watching.
Wait, what?
Wait, what? You don't even have to have an account. 2 Americans have been charged with tech support scamming the elderly for $10 million. The U.S. Attorney's Office for SDNY announced the arrests Romana Levia of Las Vegas and Ariful Hack of Belrose, New York, are being charged with 1 count of wire fraud, 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Each charge carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. I hope they throw the book at them. These are 2 of the many people who put pop-ups on your screen saying, your computer has a virus, call us. And we've all encountered that, right?
Yeah, I'm glad that someone is being held responsible for this.
They made some money. 7,500 victims, $10 million. Man. They made some money, but not anymore.
Jeff and I don't see those, not on Chromebooks.
Oh, yeah, you don't. Actually, you might. Well, that's the funny thing. Because if the way they're doing it is a website pop-up, you probably will see it, but you can ignore it because you're not running Windows. Let's see. I want to do the changelog, so I'm just going to go through a few things.
Google put up a whole corpus of deep fakes so that researchers can figure out what they're doing, which I think is great. Twitter, by the way, this is not on the rundown, but Twitter, which before had released a bunch of Russian fake tweets, now added in other stuff from other countries. So again, the more these places reveal data for researchers, the more that's a good thing. Keep doing it.
ImageNet, which is a massive database of faces, which unfortunately were categorized. Let me see if I can find a picture of myself. Were categorized. Oh, I can just do it in the webcam. Let's do this. Categorized by humans, and you know how bad humans are.
So the problem here is not the technology, it is the humans.
Yeah, but this database is widely used. All right, I'm going to upload a snapshot of me and see what ImageNet Roulette, which, by the way, oh, it stopped. Oh, shoot. I wanted to show you this. Because I did this before, and it said that I was, oh, no, here it is. Here it is. It says I'm a newsreader. Oh, well. A person or individual who reads out a broadcast news bulletin. Let me do it without the microphone. That might have given it a hint. Let's get the
mic has been moved.
Yeah, you're gonna have
we're
to
allowing
narrate.
this to use our camera, which itself is
by itself. This is an art project, by the way, and I wasn't immediately clear if the ImageNet Roulette, which was clown, buffoon, goofball, Mary Andrew. What? It does know I'm an entertainer. A person who amuses others by ridiculous behavior.
Guess what it said about me?
What?
Septuagenarian. F you.
All right,
Roulette.
come on, Ant. Now, really, you want to do this with somebody African-American, because that was part of the issue, was that they would say, you know, thief, hood, you know.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was curious
Get
about.
a picture, and we'll see what it'll do with Ant. But the good news is, after this, and an article about it in the New York Times, ImageNet said, yeah, we're going to go through some of these images and see if we can fix that. Okay,
yeah, it's humans. It's a system set up so that the worst of humans can come out, and they're going to come out.
So Ant has sent it a pretty scary picture.
Wait a minute.
I don't know. You look scary, Ant. It's those muscles.
Well, it's thinking.
It's thinking. It's processing. New York Times article, I think, brought this to light, and it was pretty funny. Now, what does it say about you? Does it say anything?
It's still thinking.
Still thinking. It can't classify you.
I don't think
Mine
it
was
wants
quick.
to offend me.
What does yours say, Kevin?
Regius Professor.
You're kidding.
Holder of a British professorship created by a royal patron. I don't know that royal patron.
Oh, my
but thank
God. You do kind of look like that.
It's just spinning.
Press upload a snapshot?
Mm-hmm. It's just spinning. Yeah, I think it doesn't want to offend me. I give them credit for that.
Well, in fact, maybe it was worse before, because they did modify it after this art project showing. The CEO of WeWork has, after receiving a lot of pressure and having to put off their IPO, resigned as chief executive. Adam Newman, though, takes a lot of money with him.
Isn't that how it always works?
Well, he's still chair.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good article, I thought, in The Hustle about the graphing calculator, the TI-83, which I have bought several for my high school age children because it was required. This is a graphing calculator that TI basically has a monopoly in. They don't say it's $150. They don't say how much money they've made, but they've sold tens of millions of them, partly because they lobbied hard over the last 20 years to make their calculators required in classrooms and by the college board in testing. They paid lobbyists to hound the Department of Education every year, right around the time when, mobile technology and apps are becoming more of a threat. You can get a free graphing calculator for your smartphone, but they even got the Texas legislature to make it mandatory for all students to take Algebra 2. Why? Well, because it requires the use of a TI graphing calculator. 20 million graphing calculators sold at $100 a pop. 40% of all American high school students. And you don't really need one, except that you have to have one because they won't let you take a smartphone into the test room. It basically sucks, says Marcus Grant, an 11th grader currently taking pre-calculus. It was really expensive for my family. There are cheaper alternatives available, but my teacher makes the TI calculator mandatory, and there's no other option. It was true also at my kid's school. And in fact, Abby lost one, so I've bought 3.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Casio has $50 calculators that do the same thing, but they always say TI. They say get a TI calculator. They tell you that. And there's a lot of students can't afford $150 for a graphing calculator. They don't need one.
I remember 11th or 12th grade and needing to have to get one of these.
You remember it? Yep.
And my mother wasn't buying it.
Good for her.
I had a I had a TI 1795 calculator. I think that's what it was. It was no different from your 10 key.
And as a result, look what happened to you. You're a podcast host now because you couldn't pass math.
My mom said, "Here, use this."
But Leo, note the competition for as an app reversed the model of the calculator. This is what's really fascinating.
I thought that was great.
Go ahead.
No, you say it.
Well, no, because I'm going to get it wrong. You have it right in front of you.
Well, the idea is that, instead of charging the user, they charge the schools. Whatever. Okay, so wait a minute. We've got the results back from Ant's Image Roulette. What did it say about you?
Wrongdoer, offender.
Wow.
Because he's black.
That's
what?
That is.
Is that hurtful?
That's
it's hurtful.
Yeah, that's awful.
So the good news is, at least it's been exposed thanks to this art project, Image Roulette, and the New York Times did a big article on it, and that's, by the way, exactly the words that they quoted.
And where do the tags come from? How do the tags in this?
Get this. Remember the Amazon Mechanical Turk?
Yeah.
It was a really cheap crowdsourcing thing. They may still do it for all I know, where they'd pay pennies for the work. But people all over the world would do the work. And I'm guessing from some of the phrases we've even heard here that these are people probably in India and other places, not in the U.S.
Right.
Although the New York Times article said they were in the U.S., but the Amazon Mechanical Turk did not make restrictions about what your geographic location was. They'd give you a couple of cents to do some job. For instance, label this photograph. So all of these photographs were labeled using the Amazon Mechanical Turk. And boy, the results are obvious. But the point of this is it shows why we've got to be really careful with face recognition and other AI based on machine learning. These databases are often corrupt, polluted for a variety of reasons. I mean, it's no surprise that Amazon's recognition it does fine with white people, does a terrible job with people of color. No surprise. Now we saw that in a nutshell.
Just saw it in action.
Wrongdoer.
Sorry, my friend.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It actually feels like it hurt you. It hurt your feelings.
It did.
That's sad. That's
even awful. In this domain, it happens.
It's just sad. Wrongdoer was exactly in the title, by the way, of the article. The only thing that I want to add is they call it a digital art project, and they say it comes from ImageNet data, but again, it's interesting they came up with the same wrongdoer and offender that it did in the New York Times article for a 24-year-old African American.
This is why this stuff has to be trained over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's not ready.
And you've got to test it again. You also have to test it against known problems that are going to exist.
Yep.
You've got to design in the fact that people will do crap for the sake of doing crap.
So the website we're using was designed by an American artist, Trevor Paglin, and a Microsoft researcher named Kate Crawford. Paglin said to the New York Times, "We want to show how layers of bias and racism and misogyny move from one system to the next. The point is to let people see the work that is being done behind the scenes to see how we're being processed." I'm not clear, though, when they say it's an art project, if these are actual results or if...
Yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't get to the source of the problem in this article.
The Times did not do a good job of describing.
No, I agree.
It is in the art and design section. If it's an art project, it may well be that they just automatically label every African American that way to kind of show the problem.
Who knows?
We're not really.
Kate Crawford is a legit smart AI Institute person at NYU. So if this was done to make all technology look bad, I'd have a problem with that. If it was done to enable manipulation, what was that thing where the bot became horrible and racist?
So quickly? The Microsoft bot.
This is Microsoft again.
So let me get this. I kind of misstated this. ImageNet is the art project, and in fact, ImageNet used Amazon Mechanical Turk. So it sounds like those labels really were assigned, but ImageNet is not used by law enforcement. The labels originally came from another collection of data called WorldNet, which was built in the 80s by Princeton University researchers. But with those inflammatory labels included, the Stanford researchers may not have realized what they were doing. It's unclear to me.
It's really hard to get to the basis of who did what for why here.
Yeah.
And this is getting shut down this week, no?
Yeah, they said the point made, we're shutting it down on the 27th, which is tomorrow.
Okay, good.
I think we can shut it down right now. It's
good
fine.
riddance.
I don't think this was used, though, by law enforcement. That's the thing, and it's not clear.
All right.
It's not clear, but it does really bring home the point, which is biases creep into this.
That's what we're saying last week was everybody's not ready for this power. Every entity is not ready for this power, and that's what Miss Stacy was trying to argue last week. Yeah, we like the tech, but it's not ready.
Are you ready to buy a Spot? Boston Dynamics robot is now available for lease.
Let's get Leo to buy one.
You can't buy it.
You need
you can
one.
lease it.
You need it,
Leo.
How much?
Lease it.
If you find out how much it is,
it's probably $10,000 a month.
Adopt a dog. Adopt a dog.
Expensive.
It's probably $10,000 a month.
But if you could get a robot, if we could get a robot for the studio that does this.
Right to Harlem, Hollywood, Jackson, Mississippi. If we show up, we're gonna show up.
Oh no.
Smoother than a fresh shot skin.
Looks like the twerking bear.
Did we just see a bear?
It's a dancing robot. So for those of you listening and enjoying this fabulous song, Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars, which of course is going to get us taken down. Wow, look at that.
Oh my
That's
God.
impressive.
That's a good dance.
Yeah,
it's
we're
doing that. What do they
probably
call
gonna
that when you
replace
do
this.
Running Man.
Running Man. Man. It's got the hip action. Uh-oh. Watch out. Here comes a claw for
that's
you. Oh, now it's twerking. Okay, it keeps up with the bear. Of course, it doesn't have much of a butt.
The programming prowess in this is just amazing.
Well, for all we know, it would be easy enough to write a little program that actually has a human doing it and it mimics it.
So a story in Fast Company says that the cost of the early adopter lease will be less than the price of a car.
Well, that's a pretty broad range.
Right.
Which car?
Which car?
So are you going to show the other
Maybach?
video?
The other video is even better.
You want to see
better.
this is another robot. This is Atlas doing gymnastics. This is the robot, I should point out, that was so mistreated by the researcher who poked at it with a stick and pushed it over. And
That's a lie.
what do you mean that's a lie?
That's not that was faked.
The pushed it over one was faked? No, Boston Dynamics doesn't fake their. Wow, look at this! It's doing somersaults. It's doing splits in the air. It's doing back flips, twists.
Very Lou Retton robot. Retton robot.
And so there's a value to this. It's showing a lot of agility, and the reason you want a bipedal robot is because a lot of spaces are built for humans. And if you want to build a, let's say, rescue robot that needs to be able to go upstairs, enter doors, do that kind of thing,
caves,
it's easiest to make it be kind of human-like, bipedal. Although Spot, which is the robotic dog, is a quadruped.
But you think about wasn't it just last summer when some kids or some workers were trapped in some cave and
the Chilean cave
miners, that's what it was,
miners, or the kids in Thailand, or the soccer team in Thailand,
right.
Fortunately, Elon has a submarine for that.
Oh yes.
Real quick, won't be my pick of the week, but I will mention it. Cloudflare, which has for a long time done 1.1.1, which was a way of hiding your DNS lookups from your internet service provider, has now added Warp to it. They had promised this. It's a quasi VPN. It's missing the features of a VPN that let you choose what country you emerge in. Your IP address will still be visible to the sites that you go to visit, but it will encrypt your data from your phone. It has an app for both Android and iOS, and I've turned it on, and it seems to work. Encrypt your phone. Now, they have a free version of Warp, and then there's Warp Plus, which is $5 a month in the U.S., although Cloudflare says it varies by region. We're trying to approximate the price of a McDonald's Big Mac in your area, so per month. So I paid the $5. It does seem as fast as not using Warp, which is good for a VPN.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's using their own private backbone to do Warp Plus, which gives it higher speeds. But you might try 1.1.1, and if you've got that, everybody now can turn on Warp, which will give you some additional security on open Wi-Fi access points. Now, the other issue that comes up is that you are no longer directing your DNS and other traffic to your internet service provider, but you are directing it to Cloudflare. I trust Cloudflare, but they are a company. They say we're not going to use your information in any malicious way, and I trust them when they say that.
Trust them over Comcast, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
That was a rhetorical question.
Yeah, but it is something to be aware of, that as with any VPN, you have to trust Cloudflare's privacy. They say we don't write user identifiable log data to disks. We'll never sell your data or use it in any way to target you. You don't give them any personal information in order to use it, and we will regularly work with outside auditors, which is all you could ask for. So it's a VPN, but it's a kind of a different kind of VPN. You should read the post at Cloudflare, blog.cloudflare.com. I like Cloudflare.
Nice work.
I am using Warp. I've used Quad 1 for a while, 1.1.1.1, and I'm now turned on Warp.
Other people use Google's, right? Quad 8s.
That's Verizon. Google, there's Quad 9, which is another company, and Google's Quad 4, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so in each case, the difference, the other thing is I use Firefox, and Firefox you could turn DNS over HTTPS on, but it also uses Cloudflare. So,
pick your tomato.
Tomato. I know John Graham Cummings, who's their CTO. I trust them. I think they're a very good company. And if anything, they'll use the data to kind of improve their DDoS service and their CDN service for their customers. But other than that, I think that's fine. Our show today brought to you by Monday.com. Monday helps teams manage work. You all are managers now. Meeting deadlines. I love how Monday works. Builds a culture of transparency to work better together. Manage all your core business activities in one place, from high-level roadmaps to specific day-to-day tasks. You just have to try it. It is so beautiful. It is so modern. They have apps, absolutely, but you also have the web dashboard. You can upload files from your computer, from Dropbox, Google Drive. You can build a board from scratch, but they also have hundreds of beautiful templates to get you started. You can automate your workflows with reminders and notifications. Monday.com is great for a team of any size, whether it's 2 freelancers working across the globe, or thousands collaborating. Teams love it. It gets rid of the Excel files and the whiteboards, and most importantly, get rid of those long, boring meetings. Create accountability by assigning owners to keep track of who's doing what. And I love the My Week feature because it's almost like a personal assistant reminding you what you'll be doing this week, what your team will be doing. You will want to hug the people that created Monday.com. I love it. You will too. 65,000 teams are already using it. You should be one of them. Look at that. Discovery uses it. It's fantastic. Go to Monday, monday.com/twig. You got a 2-week trial. Why not try it? Monday.com/twig. Monday is a new way to work, and awesome. Awesome. Let's do the Google change log.
The music.
The Google change log.
I'm going to do this fast. We don't have a lot of time. The Google Play Pass. As soon as Apple announced a $5 Apple Arcade, which you get 100-plus games for $5 a month, Google said, hold my beer, and announced Google Play Pass, $5 a month, apps as well as games without ads, without in-app purchases. Of course, I immediately subscribed, especially because for the next year, it's only $1.99 a month, and you get a 10-day free trial. Play Pass has a lot of software that you might pay for, including games. Stardew Valley, Risk. There's a lot of other apps, though. AccuWeather, White Noise Generator, Voice Recorder Pro. I think this is a really interesting play from Google, and it is definitely a response to Apple's Arcade. And like Apple's Arcade, it works with the family. So $5 a month, or actually this year, $1.99 a month will give all your family members free games as well.
I signed up for it, and I have no idea what I signed up for. They
I know what you mean.
It on All About Android.
You've been hanging out
night.
with Leo too much.
Yeah,
that's
what I do.
I was sitting here watching All About Android last night, and they brought it up, and I'm thinking, I guess I should look.
I must have that.
I must have. Mini Metro's
Google
a fun
appreciates
game.
your patronage.
Yeah, exactly. I think in some ways what Apple's doing, and now Google is responding to the blight that in-app purchases have created, especially for games.
Right.
It just kills the pleasure if you have to spend money on donuts or candy or whatever. And I think they're doing it. Google Nest Wi-Fi is adding an assistant speaker. We knew this for a while, and this is not what it will look like. This is 9 to 5 Google's artistic rendition. Basically, Google Wi-Fi with a Google.
It makes me laugh every time I see it.
On top.
That picture, yeah.
Don't know what to say about it, but there you go. When they release it, we'll have more. This is a 9 to 5 scoop. Google is doing this, making Assistant work even if you don't have Google Assistant. I mean, even if you don't have internet access, and that's of course important in
This is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Golly, I don't know how they do it.
Just voice.
Yeah.
Just phone voice.
Yeah. It's on feature phones, Vodafone in India, Idea Telecom Networks in India.
And they're making the call free.
I get it. You make a call.
It's a call. It's a call.
Right.
Call it is.
Right. Even though it's
But it means people with feature phones can now ask questions, and I think this has a big impact on literacy.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's awesome.
So, if you're in India on those two carriers, dial, and they don't make it easy, 000-800-919-1000.
Yeah, foreign phone numbers are so funny to us.
725.
Stroke one.
Notice the left question they ask for on that thing.
What is Sachin Tendulkar famous for? No idea.
Got me.
No,
I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that.
Try asking how do I cook. What's that?
What is
shawarma?
Sachin Tendulkar famous for?
I'm going to guess cricket. Either that or Bollywood.
Airplane mode. I can't help you with that.
You're in airplane mode. What is Sachin Tendulkar
16,
famous for?
World's youngest Test cricketer.
Oh, he also wrote the great book Playing It My Way.
He became the first cricketer to score
was a good
35 centuries.
That was a page turner.
You tell
100 runs in a single inning. That's why that game goes on forever.
100 runs.
Wow.
Jesus. Wait a minute. Is that one game he had 35 centuries or just 35
centuries? But within a century, it's
100 runs.
Runs in an inning.
Hey.
It also, Amazon's announced that its service now understands and speaks Hindi. So I'm guessing the Indian market, pretty important. 1.3 billion people.
Yep.
Pretty important. In fact, the new Apple Watch actually has faces designed for people speaking Indian languages.
Nice.
How about that?
Nice touch.
And now Google is promoting synonyms in search.
So I tried to test this, and I typed in define synonyms. So it gave me synonyms for the word define.
Oh.
I couldn't get it to show me that I wanted to find the synonyms for synonyms, but I couldn't.
So if you ask for normally, if you say something like define sympathy, it will give you the definition.
But also now synonyms.
Synonyms. So you no longer need your Roget's thesaurus.
I just bought a book about Mr. Roget.
Monsieur Roget?
He didn't do the thesaurus till he was like my age, septuagenarian.
You have no idea how underrated a thesaurus is until you start writing.
Do people? So that's good to know that young people like you have thesauri.
I have to look it up. So,
I have a bookshelf of all of the obsolete tools of a writer at home, including the 26-volume Oxford English Dictionary.
Yeah,
you have the entire OED.
Oh yeah,
you're kidding me.
That was just because everyone should, right?
Wow.
And then all the dictionaries next to that, and the Roget's, and all the different books and things that you're supposed to have, and then the style guides, and of course I never consult them.
WPA.
Right above, actually, my office at home is a museum. Right above the Oxford English Dictionary is all the volumes of World Book Encyclopedia from like 1995.
Oh man, World Book was awesome.
Jeez.
Well, when I was a kid in 1965, my parents bought that, and I would read it. I loved it. I just thought, oh, this is great. I'd go to the bathroom with the S volume. I just read it. So
an A volume.
An A volume.
Animals.
Well, A for animals. So I like old.
So he was born in 1779.
Oh.
He didn't start working on the thesaurus until 1846.
Wow. Wow. Guest.
That's me.
What is your
generic guest?
What is your tip this week? Actually, this is believe it or not, this is also Paul Thurrott's tip on Windows Weekly.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You guys are in sync.
All right. Well, he's programming on a Chromebook, as am I. I'm taking comp sci classes. And my pick this week was a very big surprise to me. There's a video series on Google's YouTube about programming or how to learn Python programming, which is a pretty simple but powerful language to learn. So if you want to get into programming, I recommend it. This video series, however, comes from Microsoft, of all people. Yeah, it's like 40-some videos.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good on them.
That's really cool.
Good on them.
So, and it talks about Visual Studio Code, which is an excellent tool. I think you can use that. There's a Linux version of it, so I think you can use that.
Oh, yeah. No, I run that on my Chromebooks, absolutely.
I really love Visual Studio Code. It's clean, it's simple, it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow, look at this. And Python is a wonderful language to learn, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you get the basics of object-oriented programming. You can do short little scripts. You can do server-side things. It's pretty versatile, yeah.
Good job, Microsoft.
Absolutely.
Python for beginners. Just search for that on YouTube. And what do you got for us?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a black guy. Did you know that?
I see no color.
Well, I wanted to share.
Although I do want to lick your head because it looks like it's chocolatey and delicious.
Oh gosh! Oh gosh! That's gonna be on. That's gonna be on the Twit's best of. Twit's best of. I wanted to shout out a coffee company back home called Enderley Coffee.
Oh, you've told me about this.
And
this
I told
is
you about
so
it.
cool.
They are their motto is coffee first, people always. And I got to know these guys a couple years ago through a mutual friend, and they're just, happy-go-lucky coffee people. But they decided to roast coffee there in Charlotte, but also open up a coffee house in the hood of Charlotte. It's hood-tastic. That's the best way I can put it. But by doing so, they introduced fine coffee to the residents there, brought jobs, and it's sort of weird that when I go to a coffee house to see a barista that looks like me. I'd never seen that until I went to Enderley. And that's their approach, is they're trying to expand it and bring more community love and more people to the world of coffee and just promote goodwill and spread coffee. But like I said, it's all about the people. And they do a whole lot of other charitable things. They source some of the other coffee houses in the area, but their spot is the spot to go to. And they have a lot of special events and raise money for charities. And you look at their website, it's all family oriented.
Straight flush. Don't play with that guy.
I still order from them because they do ship here.
Good. You're supporting them. That's great. Everybody can do that.
But that's Enderley Coffee. They're
Enderly
really good people. They've raised a lot of money for students in the area to help kids go to college.
That's great.
They really do walk the walk. So
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Enderley
Coffee.
Coffee.
What I love about you, you got heart. You bring some heart. You bring some heart to Twit every time. I'm so grateful.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, he seems like a big tough guy.
It breaks my heart that what the internet did to you earlier in the show. So.
What did the internet do to him in the show? Oh, that thing, wrongdoer.
Yes,
He's a right doer.
I'm a right doer.
Chocolate flavored right doer.
Feel free to punch him.
Go ahead, punch him.
Stacy would let you.
I don't want to destroy the screens over there. So.
I'd be flying that way. That's sweet.
Thank you, sir.
Bring tears to my eyes every time you're on here. Mr. Jeff Jarvis, number for us.
So the President of the United States, according to Business Insider, said at the UN that, and I quote, "A free society cannot allow social media giants to silence the voices of the people. My administration has made clear to social media companies that we will uphold the right of free speech." What's that defined as? Quote, "A free people must never, ever be enlisted in the cause of silencing, coercing, canceling, or blacklisting their own neighbors." And of course, when people do just those things online, which is to say to try to silence, coerce, cancel, and blacklist their neighbors, that's called hate speech. That speech is taken down, and people like this man complain about it. The complaint, you wonder why was this a number? The complaint, according to Business Insider, reduced the FAANG stocks by $58 billion. Now, of course, it's never a direct correlation. It's correlation, not causation. But they're blaming that comment on a severe drop in technology stocks.
58 billion? And that's just 5 stocks, FAANG. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google.
Yeah.
Jiminy Crispy. Now, it will come back, right?
Yeah, it'll come back.
Wow. And that's tariffs, probably.
And so as I made my point last week in my dystopia of dystopia pieces that nobody's read because it's too long on Medium, Jeff Jarvis, medium.com/@JeffJarvis, you'll find it. But what you're seeing is a pincer of the left and the right both going after the tech companies.
Yeah.
And what worries me about that is that means they're going after the internet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, everybody hates the internet, except us. We love the internet. Dang it. Hey, you know what else I love? At great expense to myself, Sonos. Just got the new Sonos Move. This is the new Sonos battery-powered portable speaker.
That thing sounds great.
Go ahead, put some music on that, John. John controls it. It isn't that portable. It's pretty heavy because any good speaker can't be that small. It's also pretty expensive. That's why that Amazon speaker was kind of intriguing. These start at, what is it, $399? Is it on?
I don't see a light on.
Oh, I turned it off by accident. There you go. See, it'll be there in a minute. So there it is. You'll need 2 if you want to pair them for stereo. It's about the size of a Apple Home Hub or an ice bucket. It has a charging stand, so that's why it went off, because I lifted it off the charging stand. It's still charging. Go ahead, try it now. I think you don't see it because the light is on. So the charging stand it sits on, it can play in the charging stand, but it also is apparently weatherproof, so it can play outside of it. And we were pretty impressed.
It sounded pretty really good.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, it's on. I'm not. But he can't see it. It also has a little microphone on the top, so you can either use Google Assistant or Amazon Echo to play it. So I guess we won't get to play it. But you know what? It wouldn't make any sense. They just take it down. And all you'd be hearing is like a music through my microphone.
Sound tinny for the listeners.
Yeah.
It sounded all right. That's the end of This Week in Google. I do thank you so much for being here. Kevin Tofel, thanks for filling in for Stacy this week. Just love your stuff.
No problem, anytime.
About Chromebooks.com. He's Kevin C. Tofel on Twitter. And, of course, you can hear him every week with Stacy on the IoT show.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Where do people find that show?
That is at the IoTpodcast.com site.
Excellent.
Yes.
Is there... Oh, it's starting to play music. Is it the IoTpodcast.com?
Okay, drop the, my bad.
Just IoTpodcast.com.
It's been a long day.
I don't blame you. Thank you, Kevin.
You got it.
Thanks to Jeffrey Jarvis. He is, of course, our good friend and professor at the lovely, I got it written down here somewhere.
Craig Newmark, Graduate School of Journalism of the City
Director of the Town Knight
There
Center
I
for
am, the Leonard Town Professor of Journalism Innovation and chair and direct the Town Knight Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism.
At the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Thank you for being here. Always a pleasure, Jeff. Thank you.
Always, sir.
All right, we'll see you next week. And, of course...
And now I got to call it. I need to be calling him Mr. Pruitt, too, because I'm so embarrassed.
Mr. Pruitt.
Jarvis.
Mr. Pruitt. Who brings a little heart to our show every week. Yet Pruitt.
Mr. Pruitt.
He's at @Ant_Pruitt on Twitter. Do follow him on Twitter and stay tuned because he will be announcing a new show. 2 new shows.
Can't wait.
Yeah, we're working hard on them. I'm very excited. They're going to be great.
Soon.
Yep. We're really...
But we still have a lot of great content here on twit.tv, such as all about Android and triangulation.
Well, who's on triangulation this week? Are you doing it this week?
Triangulation will be Todd Moore, and I will be doing the interview.
Is this your first triangulation?
This will be my first.
Nice. Tell us about Todd.
Todd Moore is app developer, former IT guy, and I'll just say he hit it big in the apps a long time ago. I'll just leave it at that.
You will know the name of the app.
You will.
Is he the Postini guy?
No,
that's another guy we're also going to get later. You'll
know, but tune in on Friday, 11:30 a.m.
Yep,
Pacific.
You got to learn this riff. 2:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Gosh, I struggle with that. And you throw in UTC.
1730 UTC. Or you subscribe at twit.tv/TRI.
My calculators.
I know, it's hard. I need that TI. See, you should have gotten the TI 99. You'd know. Or whatever it was, the 135. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We do Twig every Wednesday, 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern, 2030 UTC. If you want to watch live at twit.tv/live or ask that device on your desk, say, hey, play Twit Live, and you can listen to anything going on in Twit at any time. You can also get on-demand versions of the show at twit.tv/twig. Or, the best thing to do, subscribe. That way you'll get every episode as soon as it's ready on a Wednesday evening. This is episode 527. Wow. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.